Starts, but then later there's running and screaming.
G'day everyone, Matt over here.
Sorry, is that me? That's me.
The Brickheadz here. At least I know the sound's working.
Why is Wally flat on his back? What are you doing?
Went a bit Wally.
Guys, I'm so lucky that I have you, because if I didn't, I would be pregnant by the end of the night and having fake parties who all rob me of my VIP points.
Yeah, I suppose skeletons really are not going to cost you an arm and a leg, are they?
To the Leicester Square store, and they had 3 people stood around feeding bags for the whole time I was there. What are you doing?
I was terrible at feeding those bags. I just can't.
I was. I was. I had security in Sainsbury's. Was it Sainsbury's? Morrison, all looking at me. And Tom said to me, I think we're being watched. I said, I'm not bothered. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm feeling bags.
But I haven't got a Woody. That sounds dodgy. I haven't got a Woody minifigure.
There's 2 now! It doesn't matter!
And a very good evening, good morning, or good afternoon, depending upon where you are. And welcome along to episode number, 35 in this season of the Family Bricks Livestream. Every Thursday, we just get together, build some Lego, hang out with some friends, talk about different things. And over the weekend, it was Steam, which is a Great Western Brick Show in the Steam Museum out there, and was out there displaying as part of a collaborative build. That was awesome. Still buzzing from that. Actually got to meet some people that I've streamed with for years for the first time. And again, the usual sort of thing where it's like everyone's taller than what they look like on stream. It's been pretty cool with that. What I might just quickly do is I normally don't do this, but I'll just show you a little bit of the collaborative display which I was part of. So just a quick little 30 seconds, so indulge me for a moment. So yeah, that was brilliant to be able to finally, I think that's been like 2 years in the planning sort of thing to get that all together. So we'll have a bit of a chat about Steam and the rest of those things later on. Quickly first, usual social media stuff, share, like, and subscribe. And everybody that's going to be coming on, their details are down below. Check them out, YouTube, Instagram. Those will be the main places. And as always, a shout out to the replay gang. So shout out to Brian's Bricks, and a new one this week, Brick Top Brick Stop. So if you're watching this back on replay and you leave a comment down below, I will give you a shout out in the following week. So always appreciate that. And yeah, we had a lot more viewers after the stream. So some really good numbers last week, which is great to see. And if you want to support the channel, this is the usual sort of thing, any super chats, anything like that, and we'll have a little something for you there. And I've also got a poll going, which going to be around the side of the video here. Are you enjoying the 6 to 8 episode mini-series? Later on, we'll be talking Ahsoka and giving a recap on all of that and those sorts of things. There's also a video down there by CaptainMidnight talking about 6 to 8 episode series and, you know, the good and the bad of that. So I think we've done that. I'll quickly just shout out to everyone who's been out there in the chat. Bricky Ty. I know, I was hoping to see, where are you here? I know, sorry, I missed you at Steam. It was the sort of thing, somebody mentioned in the back there, so like, oh, yeah, Bricky T has been floating around one of the other rooms. and I meant to try to catch up with you, but I've never seen your face, so I have no idea what you even look like. So maybe the next time round, and everyone's just sort of saying hello there. TJ's saying hello as well, and I think Darth Maul, can't wait for Hive to get on here. Yes. So this is going to be a little bit of a different one at some stage. We're hoping to get Tech in as well. And later on, we'll be talking sort of Ahsoka, the whole thing now as a bit of a recap. And later on, probably in the third hour, also have Hive joining us to have a bit of a chat as well and get his sort of impressions. So I think he's just got to finish up work and get home and things like that. And TJ should be joining us a little bit later on as well. So, and Brigitte, Castle's mating, love the piggy on the roaster. Yeah, that was that was brilliant. That it's those little details which people remember, like even just seeing that little guy diving off the edge. That was like a last minute sort of thing, but everyone gravitates to those sorts of things. So it's the little silly things like that. And then just one more thing, helps having a bit of a sponsor, so we'll just give them a quick little plug.
This video is brought to you by McCatsim Holiday Homes in Margate and Broadstairs. Great for a week's holiday or a weekend escape, being just over an hour east of London, UK. Treat yourself to amazing sunsets, a Lego wall, or great food. Visit www.mccatsim.com and mention this YouTube video and we'll look after you.
And I think with that, this has been one of the longer introductions done, so we need to get some people in. So I might start off with somebody who hasn't been around for the last little bit, just as everything has a little bit of life going on. And this is the way that they popped in earlier. So we will say hello to Trevor's videos. And hello, Trevor. This is obviously different.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing?
Going well, going well. I think, yeah, we're all in a state of confusion at the moment. It's like you've got a funky new light set up, or you decided to move out to the woods.
Well, for those of you who don't know, well, you jolly should know, that I've been working on a stop motion since this set came out in July, and which is all ready to go tomorrow. And I thought, what a fitting ending to what was a fantastic build. And that is to place it inside a Wicked Brick exclusive display case. And this is it.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing. Like, certainly when you turn that around a bit beforehand, it's like, oh, wow, yeah. And, I mean, we'll play it. We've got your little promo there. We can play that a little bit later on. But from what we've seen so far, the stop motion that you've been working on for, I guess, the last 2 months now, fantastic. You must be thrilled.
I am. I'm extremely thrilled. I mean, when I started the project, and I've never taken on such an ambitious project, to be fair. And I thought, am I going to finish this? How am I going to put it all together? Because it's one thing filming it, it's another thing making it an interesting watch for people to enjoy. And I'm really thoroughly impressed with what I've done, if I'm honest. I kept tweaking it, and I thought, no, I've just got to upload it now, put it out to the masses, and just hope you enjoy it and see what you all think.
Yeah, no, it's from what we've seen so far, it's brilliant. And certainly, yeah, I mean, you've been talking and working hard on that for quite some time, and certainly seeing the initial little bit of it, and sort of, you said you want to get it done about this time, so get it done.
Yeah,
I think, what was it, like 5,500 frames or something? So
6,500, yeah.
6,500, and
6,500 frames.
Yeah, it's so far. It's some people, you think of stop motion, you go, okay, right, we'll just move the character or move something one little bit, frame, move it another little bit, frame. No, some of the stuff that you've done with it, you've really put some story and life into just more than just bricks moving around a page or a screen.
Well, that's what I think. When you're doing a stop motion, that's everybody's got, like you say, their own stamp on things. But my stamp is to kind of bring certain elements of the build to life and bring the whole set to life. So, and I've really enjoyed doing that. And this is a really good set. If you haven't got this set, and I know this time of year is brilliant for doing Halloween builds, but I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, been one of the sorts of ones which has sort of popped up there. It's like, yeah, I have to get that at some stage. So it's.
And I love this background. It really sets this set off.
Yeah, it's fantastic like that, and I think it was very much like the up house. It sort of really just, adds so much more to it with the depths and everything, and certainly, obviously for you, it's going to have such sentimental value in terms of having poured 2 months of your life. I think it is into the other stop motion. It's sort of like, okay, at least let's put the set there and never touch it again. Brilliant. All right, we'll get your promo up in a sec, but I think we better get some more people in here. So the next one that I want to do is, and I'm just going to try to put me on solo for a minute. Reason to the madness. This guy now got another little sig fig, and I got from them in person, which was brilliant. And they came along and was just standing by the little castle there, and they said hello, and that was fantastic. So welcome along, Brick Askew. How are you going?
Hello. Yeah, really well. Thanks.
Hello.
Really well. Hello, mate.
Good to see you.
Yeah, and you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome to see you on Saturday, Swindon.
It was kind of funny too, because you just were there and said hello and everything like that, which was brilliant. And then, because of the way which I'd come into the place, I'd sort of come in through one entrance, and I just thought we were all in the hall there. And you're like, oh, have you seen a couple of the other guys? So I think I've seen one of them. And you're like, oh yeah, they're out and around the corner. It's like, what? You mean there's more to this?
It's like the same amount elsewhere spread throughout the whole museum.
Yeah,
it's really cool. It was a really good setup.
No, it was a brilliant setup, because for those who don't know, because it's the first time I've been there, you've got the steam train museum basically, and while they had a hall which had like a whole bunch of displays and that, they then also had from the main entrance like Lego displays sort of dotting around the whole sort of museum itself. So you'd just be walking away and there'd be like, the Brick Boss and Monarch over here, and then you walk over there and there's Joanna on High Tea Toys, and you go a little bit over there and they're in the main hall, and there's like King Oldendorf and a whole bunch of different people. So
everyone was quite nicely spread out as well. So it took me 2 hours just to get to you, because I kept seeing displays and people to talk to, and it just took ages to get through. And when I did see after our conversation last week of saying quite ominously that I was going to find you, you did have your back turned to me, but I wasn't sure if it was you or not. I was going to whisper in your ear, I found you, but I didn't want to do it to a stranger.
I remember you said that when you first. It's like, I was going to whisper, but I wasn't too sure. It's like, if you did it to the guy over there, it might not be the best idea.
I remember watching that last week when I was watching you guys. You said, "I'll come and find you."
I'll find you. And it was funny because I think we'd just been sort of texting over Instagram or whatever, and I hadn't really checked, because when I was just there, I was just talking the whole time to people, and I don't think I really looked at the phone ever. And just every once in a while, it's like, oh yeah, I better just message. Yeah, I'm here or something. So it's good that worked out, and no, definitely it was nice to get another little sig fig. So
I'm glad I found them. Almost. Well, they were packed away in a box. Oh, nice.
Afolbwick Brondies, when she was here in August, I think it was, got hers. And then, just been working on mine a little bit here in the middle. So still, awesome. It didn't come before the weekend, which is a bit annoyed about. But anyhow,
how much hair is on yours, Matt? I'm sorry, but
that's the hairpiece you should have, Trev.
It's the sort of thing, once it's like I get a haircut every 6 months, because I get it really short and then I let it grow for 6 months. So this is kind of like at the end of that time. So that said, maybe I can crowdsource it. Is there another set of grey hair which is sort of more spiky in that? So it's going through and looking for some of the different pieces. So all right, brilliant. Yeah, better before we get too carried away, bring in a couple more people that we've got here. And coming along next, just trying to think. don't think they've had me spending too much money this week on Amazon Germany, but it's been very close. They did say something earlier today. It's like, oh yes, this retailer's got this at a really good deal. I was like, yeah, that is a good deal, but Amazon Germany aren't price matching it yet. Come on, get your act together. Welcome along, Nicole. How are you going?
Hi there. Believe it or not, but hi there. I spent this week my money with Lego themselves.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know.
Not Amazon. Not Amazon. Wait a minute.
No.
Are you feeling okay?
I don't know. I think I have a fever and I'm delusional. No, I spent a bit with Amazon because the calendar, the advent calendar, went down to 27 and 25 euros. So I thought I buy the Marvel and the Star Wars one. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. No. It's been good. Those ones are starting to slowly creep down in price. Unfortunately, it's sort of like went and grabbed all the ones first day sort of thing. So it's like, do I want more? No.
That's funny. Yeah.
But, yeah, it's
I'm really happy that I fought the fought. I did not fight the Republic fighter tank, but I found it by chance because I wanted to buy this one from the Lego store. And while I was perusing the shelf, the Star Wars shelf, I saw that the Republic fighter tank was on right next to it. And I thought, 30 euros? That is so strange. I know that it was more expensive. And right. 45 it's officially, and they had it for 31 euros. And with that one and buying two of the other ones, and I bought the Cat Hotel from the France line, which was in price reduced to 20 euros as well. And I came over the top of 100 euros, which meant I got the gift with purchase, the pirate one and the Halloween one, and I got double VIP points, and I think it was a good day.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean those, because in the UK, those fighter tanks, I think they're a Lego exclusive. Like you can't get them at anywhere else, can you? Or is it? No, sorry, no. You can get them at Smith's.
I don't know. I didn't see. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
So it went on sale if they were at Smith's.
I'm not even sure. Anyhow, whatever.
I never saw them. Yeah,
So-
whenever I saw them outside of Lego, I only saw them for a higher price than Lego. And I thought, no, I'm not paying more than Lego prices for that.
It's
Yeah,
surprising
that's
they
why I
got
never
it on sale. They had it. So when I went to the Lego shop last month, and they had it as like last chance to buy, but no discount on it or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's why.
Yeah, no, because I
Yeah.
went looking last AFOL day as well, because the little one is really into like the clones and things like that. So they didn't have it. Nowhere in London had it. And if you try to buy it online, I think there's like a limit of 2.
Tesco has it for £16.
16?
Yeah, I'm like,
One
actually,
Are
six?
you sure you're looking
Right.
at the right one? Like,
the one with Mace Windy and the
yeah.
purple clone
When you
troopers.
go to check stock, is it like only available in
It
sort of
says
like
reduced to
Aberdeen?
clear. I'm going to add 2.
But you can get them for £16.
That's cheap, that is.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. If you want to,
There we go.
if you want to add a couple to your cart, and then I'll pay for postage, like
Yeah, cool.
because that's yeah.
Because the tank looks kind of decent, and with the minifigures, there are almost more minifigures than in a battle pack.
Yeah, no, and I think it's the 212, which that's the only ones they're in, and unless they do something like that, that's going to be the only ones they stay in. And I think I've just seen an unofficial hurry up, I think. It's sort of like been in the Kerry room for a little bit too long, and it isn't Kerry. And so I'll welcome in Ollie.
Hey.
Well, not Ollie, Chris from Bridgestone. How you going?
Yeah, not too bad. No. I forgot. I haven't commented on the chat, so I just dropped it in. So it wasn't a little friendly Come on, get on with it.
Yeah, have you forgotten?
No, I hadn't
No,
forgotten. I was
not
looking
to
down there, and we kind of got distracted.
I'm surrounded by absolute legends, so I'm happy to wait.
Excellent. No, good to see you. And it's almost feel bad. It's kind of like, wait a minute, 20 minutes into the stream, and you're only just coming in.
That's all right. I was waiting for 20 minutes the other day when we had Shy. I was like, I was not worthy. That's all right.
Can you imagine what would happen if you forgot someone totally? Like at the end of the stream,
Oh my God.
right. There is someone left. I'm so
someone
sorry.
there. Probably in the private chat, and you're just ignoring them or something. So,
Yeah. So how's everybody? All good?
yeah, going really well. How about you? I think you mentioned that you might have a little something.
Yeah, well, I've made the most this week of some deals. I'm one of those that sort of like, I might have a set that I really want to get. That's like number one. But if like there's sets further down my list that are on offer, I often just prioritize them because the deals is just like so good. So yeah, I've made the most of some deals this week. So I've gone for the Emperor's Throne Room.
Oh, nice.
You know, I really
nearly got that.
Yeah, really want to get that set day one, but I knew it was going to be discounted at some point, and then I went for the Weezer set, the Argos exclusive one, and that's the first time I've seen it discounted, so I had to jump at it really, and I thank the Dyslexic Geek who's got a YouTube channel because he did a video on some. He's a great YouTuber, and he just basically did a video on some offers, and I just didn't realise that it was on sale. So as soon as I watched his video, yeah, I just quickly bombed down to my nearest Argos, which is about a 20-minute drive just to pick it up.
There's been loads of good deals this week. I think to like counter the Prime, the Amazon deals, picked up. Argos has been fantastic. Like everything pretty much has been a third off, or loads of stuff's been a third off.
It's great deals.
And then Smiths have sort of today started to price match Argos, and then they have a £50-100 threshold. So if you spend 50, you'll get an extra 6 off. Spend 100, you get an extra 12 off. So it's sort of like, okay, well, pick up that one from Smiths because it's price matched to Argos, and I'm getting like, it's. And then I've had a couple of naughty people in particular here trying to say, "Oh, Harry Potter's on sale. Harry Potter's on sale." So it's been really difficult. So because I was looking at that one that Weasley's Wheezes, whatever it is, you figure it out. And I'd actually watched the Holly on Film video where she compared that with the Diagon Alley. And so, like, I must admit, like, I get why they've got it as a single one. I like the Diagon Alley one better. So it's like, maybe one day I'm going to have to get that. Like,
yeah. I mean, I've heard it called the poor man's Diagon Alley, that Weezer set. It's a bit unfair because it is a good set. You know, it's got a building called the Outpost, which is a new location. You got some exclusive figs, and a matter of fact, it actually has got more of the Wheezy products in compared to the other ones. So there is some advantages to this set, or some plus points, which the other Diagon Alley doesn't. But yeah, I think it stands well on its own. It's quite interesting to see where they're going to go with this. So obviously they are going to be making another Diagon Alley range, I think, and a lot smaller one. So it'd be interesting to see what they add to this next year.
Next year, yeah. Because when I caught up with Bonnie's Bricks when she came down to London, what was that, back in summer or something like that? We went out to Battersea and we were both standing there, and she's sort of like, "What's the difference between this and the like Diagon Alley one?" And it's like, "Oh, that's a really good question. I really don't know." So. I think the main thing I like with the Diagon Alley one is it's got a bit more structure to it, and it just, whereas the other one, look, I get it. It seems to be more of just a not so much a doll's house, but anyhow, yeah. And I suppose if you can sort of save to put them all together, unless you get a stupid deal like what you were looking at the other day or today or whatever, it's sort of like, but that's just the way that some of these things go like that. So it's very tempted, but I think as others have commented, there's been quite a bit this week, and you sort of just got to go, no, let's just hold fire. It's kind of like,
I know. I'm dead nervous because I had my heart set on the Hocus Pocus set, but we're all waiting for this stop motion, which is going to be so good. I'm going to end up buying it after seeing it. So,
well, I think with that might actually be quite a nice little segue. We'll just give Trevor's, dropping the video tomorrow, and he's been doing a little bit of a promo. So I thought we'll just give a quick little playthrough. So definitely 1313 on 1313 or something like that. Anyhow, love the way that broom. It looks like it's walking. I don't know how you did that.
Yeah, I did that about 4 or 5 times before I got that right. It just didn't look right. Is it
just a matter of just getting it with the right twist on it?
Yeah, I got some giving me secrets away now, but it's sort of like, these like sticky, double-sided, sticky, clear dots that are off Amazon, little tiny dots.
Yep.
I got one of them underneath, and I just kept twisting and moving and twisting the broom. Took ages, but then eventually you get that twist, so it's like walking. Because if you did it, I did it originally just going across, and I thought, no, it doesn't look right. You have to twist, though the broom looks as though it's sweeping across the floor. So that's how I did that.
Yeah,
it's just using what's around you, some sticky tape. I use a lot of blue tack. So there's nothing fancy. It's just, put your mind to it and just go and animate. Anybody can do it. Just have fun, and that's what I've done. That's what it's all about.
Selling yourself short there. I think the amount of work you put into it, it's like, I don't think anyone, well, maybe anyone can do it. Whether or not anyone has the patience and the fortitude, that might be a different issue.
Yeah.
There's an art to it as well. Yeah, you're definitely selling yourself short there. Anyone can do something basic, but you built on it.
What I like to do, when I filmed it all, I like to look at each segment and like make it its own little mini sort of animated film inside the whole thing. So it's interesting to watch. I won't just film something and you just see the whole thing being built. I like to take the camera in there and the perspective of all the potion bottles appearing and the cauldron lighting and different things like that. I like to immerse the viewer in what I see, just try and sweep you all through the build. So hopefully let me know what you think tomorrow, and hopefully everybody enjoys it.
Yeah, brilliant. Because I like, that you're going to release it at, 1300 hours and 13 minutes. It's weird to say that. You can see it like military time in your head, but if you can say that, like, does anybody else understand what I'm talking about? Ooh, 13.
Yeah.
13. Brilliant. I'm just having a look at the chat here. Basically talking about the fighter tanks. How'd you get on, Ollie? Have you managed to order any?
So I logged in. It seems to be done on like your region. As soon as I logged in, they said there aren't any in stock. Something to do with a shop refit, which I don't think that makes sense. But maybe only in certain areas, if they've even got any of them in stock anywhere in the country.
Yeah, I mean, normally they're 45. So if you're getting them for 16, I would imagine it's like, we just want to clear them out of stock.
They've been clearing out loads of stuff. They had like Hulk Busters for, I think it was £25, down from 45 recently.
Oh, you mean that one? I thought you meant the really big one.
Hulk Buster, 25 quid. Send the link. I don't think I've slated that set. I've seen that set built, and I think it's absolutely glorious. It is good.
It is a beast. The rebrickable looks amazing as well.
Yeah, no, the rebrickable does look good, and using the same bricks, so you're just there going, yeah, only the best is good enough. Okay.
I was I nearly got the bargain that Matt got instead, but money. Yeah, because a friend had it going cheap, new, and yeah, that was a hard one to swallow. That I couldn't get that.
Yeah, at least you know it went to a good home. At least.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's good that way. So again, if it wasn't for that rebrickable, I'd probably be thinking twice about it. So
yeah.
Anyhow, I think cool. So one thing I will just quickly do, because in case anyone doesn't know, and I saw KO there in the chat as well, I just got a quick little video with a couple of actually Brick Skews just grabbed and filmed his sort of little Instagram, so some of the photos he took of a few bits and pieces, so you can get a bit of a sense of what we might be talking about for anyone who's kind of missed it. And finished up there on one of KO's, which I'm glad you managed to get some photos, because I meant to do that, but anytime I walked around, I just end up talking to people.
Yeah, that was all because I didn't realise or think through that post either, because half of them are portrait, half are landscape, so chunks of them have been cut off like Haiti toys. That photo does not do it justice, because the half the castle's cut out of that photo.
Yeah, no, and it's but there was so much, and although for the castle, sort of like London AFOLs, which is our group which did that, there was then other London AFOLs there displaying their own little things. So you had one of them who had actually built a GBC out of Duplo, and rather than using the balls because they wouldn't work, they'd actually gotten mini dolls and used the mini dolls instead of the balls, because what it turns out, because it had a big slide and everything, on the heads there's enough rubber that it gives it enough friction that it doesn't fly off. It was cool.
Yeah, I wish I'd seen that in action. I don't think she was there when we saw it.
So that was another one, and then I think you had it there, that white tree type thing.
That was amazing. That's setting levels for trees. I'll send a proper photo over.
That's done by another London AFOL, Waffles, and I think it's Tim. And then they had all their Star Wars ships and other ships.
They were also amazing. I've got loads more photos, like more than I could have put in a single post. But it was incredible.
And then there's another Andrew had a whole train display somewhere else, because he, I think he works on the London Underground, so he does a lot of stuff with that. And
really impressive train displays there. There was a good few actually. There was a good, like 5, and they were all decent size with lots of different trains running. I could have spent another day there and looking at the trains, because I didn't look at them too much on the Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, we just, where we were set up, we had a couple behind us, so you could just go over and have a bit of a look and a bit of a play. And some of them had really cool little features. Like there was one you'd go up and they had like a Mindstorms pressure thing, so you push it in, and then it was linked up to like a cemetery. So then the crypt would open and up would pop like a little skeleton sort of thing, and then it would drop back down and close up. Like it was just really cool things like that. And
I loved all the motorized stuff. Like in the White Castle, like had a guy being chased around in circles who'd like stolen some a leg of lamb or something, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's that's inside the main keep there, and I think most of the guys here have seen it. I've done a full video just of that, and also so that's in there. And if you want, the building instructions for the main tower have been released, so if you're crazy enough to want to do that, that's all there, freely available as well. And again, there's some guys which came up with some really funky, intricate little things, and I mean that was a nice thing, just being there. Is you spend 2 days just picking other people's brains about, oh, how'd you do that and how'd you do this? And it's like, we tried this, but this didn't work. Or here, just get these little cheap things from Amazon. They work a treat. And it's like, yep, okay, ordered.
Yeah. Wow.
I think it's lovely that you've actually taken the time and the trouble to put the instructions out there for other people that would like to build it. I think that's a really nice touch.
Yeah, it was mainly designed by John Gale, who we had on the stream ages ago. So he's got the way that he thinks and sees pieces and plays around with things, like the build for the big round towers. It is quite challenging, but by the time you get to the end of it, you're like, yeah, that's really quite satisfying. And I think, as I said before, or maybe on the day, when I was doing some of mine and having issues, it's all like, because so much of that is done using weird snot techniques, all of a sudden you're thinking in snot. So it's sort of like, oh, I had a problem. It's like, okay, I know how to do this snot technique. Don't feel done.
Yeah.
It's good like that.
The whole thing behind it, where, because it's done from the minifigs view, so it was entirely smooth, right?
Yeah.
So
the whole thing is studless. So if you're a minifigure walking around, you won't see studs anywhere, at least for the main parts of it. Which there's inside each of the big round towers is actually a full spiral staircase as well. So it's again completely studless. So if you're a minifigure walking around, so it's like it's a bit crazy. But I've also just seen someone who's popped along. We haven't had a chance to catch up with, and I think they've had a major life change recently, but we saw that coming. And so now I guess we'll welcome along does this come up? Popper Tech. How you going?
Hello, how are we doing?
Hi,
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's been a week of sleepless nights or minimal. I wouldn't say sleepless actually, but minimal sleep. But it's amazing. I'm over the moon. I'm really happy. So all is good.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, it's good to have you in, and good to hear that everything went well with that. So I think on social media, there's usually the two things you'll get massive engagement from is going to be births or marriages. So.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, just the birth for now. Well, I say for now, just the birth as well. But anyway.
Brilliant. So we'll in a little bit we're going to do like a Ahsoka recap for the whole sort of show and things like that. So we'll get that. I think give it another 45 minutes. I think looking at the time or something like that.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's good there. And then the other thing too, Tech, your Scarif mock. You've been putting lots of content out about that.
Yes. Yeah. So that was a project that has probably been like well over a year in the making in terms of like coming up with the idea of wanting to do it, how we would tackle it as a group. So we have a lug, very like laxed and unofficial lug, I guess at this point. It is essentially a glorified Instagram group chat. But yeah, so it started out we were doing like brick shows and stuff throughout the UK, but maybe down the south, and a few of us were doing like a couple of them, and we thought it'd be cool to start doing collab builds and different things. So we've had different themes, and we've done like a lightsaber duels one. We had like one that was completely conceptual with no like based on any like actual Star Wars material, something that we've come up with. And then to make it different this time, we were like, well, what about if we actually like all come together and put one together? and have like a build standard and stuff and display it. And we most of us got to display it at Oxford, and then we planned on displaying it at the what was it called? What was it going to be called? Another Blockbuster event in Birmingham at the beginning of September, but unfortunately that didn't go ahead. So we still managed to we hired a space out just locally to me, and everyone came down and bought their section of the build, and yeah, it come together really well. We were all very happy with it. So it was cool. We started a Gonklug Instagram page, so we've been posting on there, and then we just need to start putting together posts and stuff so we can start posting weekly on Instagram. So that's what that's all been about.
Cool. Yeah, because I've been on seen that there, and then it's kind of joined up or following the Gonklug, and so like you start off with something good like that. It's sort of like setting the bar pretty high there.
In hindsight, we probably should have because the next thing I think we want to do is essentially just like recap posts of all the collabs we've done prior. But as you would imagine and as you would hope, we've definitely got better over time. So now going backwards is probably done a bit of a disservice there. But it is what it is. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean that's when you can do, and I've seen people do it. So like if you start using old stuff, you sort of almost like, okay, well this is 2023 and this is 2019. Look how much better we are.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we're definitely
see those that YouTube thumbnail where it's got the two pictures with the arrow between.
That's it. Yeah, cheeky little half and half thumbnail. It's got to be done.
Yeah. And then if you make a mistake and sort of thing, it's like, well, why have you gotten worse? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think we got KO there saying congratulations in his own little way. So.
I don't know what you're on about, Kay. She's absolutely quiet at the moment. She's just been fed, so she's going to be out cold any second.
Let's just sort of, yep, cool. Sorry, just saw in the private chat there, One Brick started having a few little technical issues, so good to have him back in. And I think, from a technical point of view, I was just kind of curious because it looked like you obviously each did your own. You did the big massive AT-AT in the water there. How did you coordinate sort of like the water? Did you sort of?
So much like Mills plating as a standard to work with. That was basically the brief we had. The only exception to those that took a bit more coordination was between Ben, who did the main landing pad at the front, Nick, who did like the track that runs up towards the tower, and then Jamie, who did the actual tower. But for the water sections, we basically had the standard was base plate, one brick, one plate, and then tile. Like 1x2 trans blue tile, and then the plate color underneath had to be blue, and then as you got closer to the land, you would integrate you'd integrate
feeding time.
Yeah.
Text time on stream is done.
Yeah, that's it. Right, guys, I gotta go. Bye. No, and then we'd integrate some medium azure, and then that gave you kind of the perception of like the waters getting deeper and shallower and stuff. So that was kind of what we did with that. We kind of we had one of the other things that we wanted to do was we didn't want each section to feel completely different because there's like tons of tree designs we could have all done with, and if we all picked our own, it wouldn't have helped to make the mock flow as well. So we came up with a tree design that we were all happy with, and so it hopefully felt like it was a bit more interwoven rather than being able to tell exactly where one person's finished and where another person's ended. So
yeah, because I couldn't tell exactly, and maybe that's the whole point. It did look like you had very much, there was, as you were sort of saying, the different varying water by the way that you use plates and things like that. And I don't know, maybe it's because when I was watching your stream, you're sort of like building it, taking it apart, building it, taking it apart. Like, is there a standard in here? Or...
There was. It was my chaotic building stuff. So the thing was, especially with those streams, I was like so certain, having done mock building streams in the past, they can be to engage with the chat. One, it's very useful to have the chat there, especially with someone like me that is so indecisive and like needs constant like reinforcement that, oh yeah, you're doing something okay, or like this doesn't quite look right. But they're hard work to actually like think, to engage the chat and then actually actively think about what you're doing.
I don't know how you do mock on stream. It's hard enough to build a set, like, but if you come across anything difficult that requires brain power, I'd be like, no, I'm just going to talk now instead.
You haven't watched too many of Tech's mock streams where
very well done. There's more. That was the thing. It ended up, but I thought going into the streams, I was kind of setting myself up to kind of do just some monotonous work. I thought, oh yeah, it's just like lay the plate out, you just get it rough. But even then, I made that far more.
I did see you taking that apart. I think realizing at the end of the stream, like, I've got to take this all apart.
And I got so petrified to even entertain the idea of like, oh, I'm going to have to pull this up in a bit. You know, I'll work on something else, and then after the stream, I'll pull it all out so people didn't call me out for it. But
no, it's kind of funny because then I think that stream I saw you, I know it's giving you a bit of stick about it, and then I think I went on somebody else's stream the next week and I was doing much the same. It's like, oh yeah, I'll just do a little bit of grass because that will be mindless sort of thing, and then it's sort of like half the time you got your brick separators, like yeah, happy with that, and it's like, oh, now I get what Tech was doing. So cool. Yeah, I just it's good to have you in, and yeah, we'll certainly have a bit of a Ahsoka chat in a little bit. Might just cover off a few of the announcements and releases and things that have been going on last week. I mean, it was kind of funny because we sort of like last week going, oh, you know, there's not much to come for the rest of the year, and can eat words on that one. The one which has just dropped in the last little bit, and let's see if we can do it here. How well that comes up.
Wow.
Yeah,
the new Avengers Tower. It's kind of like
31 figs. That's all I'm saying.
And it's
5,000 pieces. That's all I'm saying.
Hive did a thing, didn't he, the other day, like measuring how tall it was going to be compared to the Bugle.
Oh yeah, taller than the Daily Bugle, wasn't it?
By some way, I think, as well.
Yeah.
It has to be bigger than the Daily Bugle.
Yeah, I keep on thinking where I have seen it, because there is one in the community that was built, and I think it was Mold King who created it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's been a couple, but like on the bigger scale like that, but I've never seen them get that angle right, like on the glass which goes up there. Not in terms of getting it right, but as slick as that. But and it looks like it's got a curve in it as well. Like anyhow. So
that dwarfs Gringotts, doesn't it?
It makes Gringotts look like a poly bag.
Yeah.
It is big. I can't wait to see the actual size of it. I want to see it built before
I have to go to Lego shop to see it as well.
Yeah,
have it on display there, surely.
Absolutely.
Do we know how high the price will be?
€500.
I think it's meant to be 550 something. So take your pick whether it's euros, dollars, or pounds.
Yeah, that'll probably be dollars, right? And then euros I think tends to be pretty close to dollars, if not the same. It'll probably be £500 because I don't know how we get lucky.
But I think based on the description, I think we all had high hopes it was going to be a great set. I think it just looks great. It's got everything.
Yeah.
31 minifigures.
31 minifigures, and I think I'm going to put the link in the description. Because there's a thing which popped up today on, I think it was Brick Fanatics, when they've spoken to a designer about minifigs and things like that. And it was a Star Wars designer, and they're going, oh, I've got spreadsheets in terms of, we're really limited with arm printing and all this sort of stuff. And it's just like, are you taking something which is actually relatively straightforward and making it really complicated? Because you look at that, 5,000 pieces, 31 minifigures. You look at the Venator, what's that? Similar?
Yeah.
2. And you won't do a cape or like the skirt thing, but you'll do a ridiculous gift with purchase sort of thing. But oh no, we need a spreadsheet. It's like, no, you need a code.
Yeah, it's so true. It'll be interesting to see how many of those figures are unique.
I think a lot of them are repeats or very.
I would imagine.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get a lot that is going to be unique to the set.
No,
but it's like Lego always like to make things that they can reuse, don't they? I mean, there are some new figures in there. I mean, I think I saw a list.
I think there are, and they'll be like, not recolored.
Well, you got
redos.
Hulk is a big fig, which I don't think we've had one of those for a while.
No, I think he's got slightly different coloured shorts by the looks of it in that picture as well.
Right. Yeah.
I do get it. Like, I get that the Avengers Tower definitely warrants more figures than a UCS Venator that's not got any proportions to a minifigure. Like, I get that they're a token gesture, I guess, to sell the set. But yeah, you're right, Matt. Like, the whole overcomplicated. My biggest so Matt sent me that article earlier, and I was reading it on the way home from London today, and the biggest thing the biggest takeout that I got from that was that they have a limited number of characters that they can assign extra arm printing, leg printing, whatever to. They made it sound like go the extra mile for, right? And then the examples that article picked up specifically were like Bo-Katan and Ahsoka, and Rex for the more recent sets. What makes me question some of that a little bit was, why did we have to have, and not so much to do with his face print, but why did we have to have like 6 or 7 very slightly different variations of Mando when he is the title character of his own show? Like, we just like the helmet. I don't like the helmet being reused for Mando anyway, because I think his helmet is very different. If you start to look at it, it's quite a bit different from the other Mandalorian helmets that they got. The print on it is so, like, the original print where it's literally just the visor is so lackluster. They didn't give arm printing on the original Mando, and so I just find that statement, or that whole process, like you said, Matt, they're massively overcomplicating it if they can't give I know that they have now with the Beskar versions of him, but we've got such minor improvements over time to where now the Mando figure is really good, like with the new helmet print update as well. But it definitely felt lazy when it first came out. Comparatively,
I know you're trying to put a bit of a not so much positive spin on it, but to me it just seems utterly ridiculous. Like, you look at something like Dreams and all the figures, wonderful printing all over them, everything like that. And, they go, the Disney license and this, that, and the other. Having worked in brands and things like that, royalties 7 to 15%, Disney's 10 to 12, somewhere in that. So you can't tell me that. And then you look at every other theme. You look at the Marvel, 31 figures for this. Daily Bugle, 24? There's some unique ones in there like Punisher, things like that. Ninjago, anytime they do one of their big ones, like for £300, everything like that. And it's just, look, I know these are, customs and everything like that. Look, I've picked up so many different customs. This is, a John Cena.
Nice.
And, arm printing, we got not only front and back torso, side torso, legs, and these, to my door, about $250 each. So it's just, And you can do that like with lots of other different things. There's even the Sonic figures. You can get the previous iterations before Lego actually did it. You could get 16, 17 Sonic figures, all unique head mold, most of them £1 each at your door. Like, it's just, come on. I just, it's, anyhow.
Even Lego.
Anybody else got some thoughts before I just kind of...
I agree. I do agree with you, Matt. Like, because, yeah, one thing I will say about some of the third-party molds and different things when it comes to fit, because I have done a little bit of research into it, and a lot of those molds will stem from. I've noticed that a lot of those like third-party companies tend to get hold of molds that were used by other customizers. So, for example, like the customizer that I really like is called Baggles and he does like some really high-end pad printed, custom molded parts for custom figures, and they're super high-end and they're very expensive. But then the molds that were used for the custom parts, like for example, he did a custom Darth Vader and he did a custom Ahsoka from Rebels, and the headpiece that was in a hood made its way into that market. So they don't, and same with the Vader thing. So some of them do, some of them get hold. So you lose it. You don't then have to pay for like design costs and like product, like specific tailored manufacturing for those molds.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was saying earlier, Matt. Like, I know Lego will obviously, there's a Lego tax. They'll want to make as much profit as possible, but they're also kind of like leading in the whole brick industry, right? Toy brick industry. So they're going to be paying for design, research, and all of that, like sustainability. Like the companies that are doing it cheaper aren't going to be doing
that. Because the others do design as well. Someone who comes up with a total new minifigure, even if it's not, if it's still human sized, they have a design done as well.
Yeah, there is that. I think as well, to combat my own argument there, is that Lego also set their own standard for themselves, because they can do a whole line of Looney Tunes or the Muppets, and they can make decent profit for selling those figures with at least one new custom mold, if not multiples, like really high-end printing for £3.50 or $5. So they're turning good profit on that still. So yeah, it just goes to show that it doesn't cost. It's not going to hike up the price of the set all that much. And there's a perfectly good argument for not all figures need arm printing, leg print. Like there's some of them don't. There's just some examples that seem to slip through that seem like no-brainers. And like you said, Matt, I think they massively overcomplicated it in some way.
I totally get, it's that usual sort of thing, and every industry generally has to deal with it. You've got the first mover in terms of who's the first one who does it, and they have their patents and things like that, which they've aggressively enforced. They're completely in their rights to do it. It's how business works and things like that. But you've then always got the fast follower. And the other thing you also have too is that there is now 7-8 billion minifigures produced over 40 years. Like Lego can achieve economies of scale, which these custom printers and things can't.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there's also an element to that the Lego ones are better quality. They'll probably stand up and last longer. And I recognize too when I'm talking about something like this, like the printing process on this might not be a high quality one like the Lego one is. So maybe there is I'll allow for some of that. But
is there? Don't we got in the past plenty of figures who, for example, skin color, when you have a torso and the skin does not really cover,
like Han Solo.
Yeah, like if it's on a dark torso and then they try to print like a flesh tone on it, then it's the quality. Yeah, that really does bother me sometimes.
Yeah, so it's. I just, when I see some comments like that coming out of Lego and things like that, I think we had another article. What was it? which we commented on, was it last week or the week before? And it just seemed to be, there's some good points in it, but a lot of the time it just came across as you're making excuses. And, you know, maybe there's something we're just not getting. Can't quite see it, but again, it's the sort of thing, you know, and to Tech's point, you know, you got these big, massive UCS displays, and it's almost like, you know, you're getting 2 minifigures as token and this, that, and the other, and it's sort of like, okay, fine. Why are these other price point sets, which are usually half, thinking Ninjago, now we're thinking more Dreams and things like that, where they can do all these figures and everything, and have good builds and have this. Okay, yes, there's a 10%, 12% thing for Disney for the, you know, the Disney tax, whatever. But it just, to me, it just
look at the new Animal Crossing sets, new molds, new minifigs. They look cracking.
Although, when I look at the sets, they are quite pricey, and I will buy them. And I can't tell that I won't, but I'm totally aware that the only that the money that I spend is for the minifigs. When I look at the sets, they are not they are nice, but when you look at the price point, the one with the tent is basic. It's really.
You'll get a discount though, Nicole. I won't worry about that. You'll get them on discount anyway on Amazon, won't you?
Right, that kind of speaks to the point, right? You get all these ridiculous discounts, and everyone's still making good profit, right? Like, you regularly see stuff go down to a third off, and they're not losing any money. No one's losing out there.
No,
no business would lose money. You know, if they can reduce them, they can reduce them for a reason.
If retail markups 100%, if you buying it for, let's just use round numbers. If they sell it for 50. Retail, they're probably getting it for wholesale 25. So even if they come down, you know, a third, they're still making money off it. They're probably doing volume. And as the crazy things we sometimes do, like in Smiths, you go, okay, well, I got this one now for 45, and if I spend something else and get the next one, and I go over the threshold to, like, you know, but that's us too, being so involved in it, and, you know, we're sharing around the discounts and that. Average Joe in the store is buying something for the kid because their birthday is in 2 days' time. It's kind of like,
I always cringe or wince when I go to the Lego store and I see someone buying like some big city set for full price. I'm like, if you could just like open your phone and look on Amazon right now. Like,
yeah, I did that the other day at a shop just down the road from me. Somebody was going to buy the Sanctum Sanctorum at full price. On the exact day, it was 215 for retail, and then it was 135 on Amazon.
I
didn't know what to say. I kept my gob shut because it's in case the person who works there overhears. You know, he's just spent an extra 80 quid.
Well, it's like when they had those video minifigures. They're £18 in the Lego store. You go anywhere else, guaranteed at least 12 or cheaper. Like, it's just, so I think just because Bonnie, I think, mentioned it there, Lord of the Rings. I saw, was it Brick Clicker with a leak that we're getting a second set next year?
Barad-dûr.
So
that's coming. March. Yeah, March.
I'd love it if they did some smaller sets. Please do some small Lord of the Rings sets. I can't afford these £500. As amazing as they are, I can't. Spend £1,000 on 2 sets.
Here's a question then. So going back to prints, do you think that Lego sometimes doesn't include prints on minifigures as a marketing strategy? Because if I use the example Bellatrix from the Harry Potter series, the past 3 or 4 years, they've been constantly asking the Lego community, give Bellatrix dress printing, right? Then we had the Battle of Hogwarts set, and a number of YouTubers were believing that finally we're going to get leg printing. I didn't think for a second that she was going to have leg printing because we knew Gringotts was coming out. So I thought, no chance is she going to get leg printing. And then they included Bellatrix in Gringotts with dress printing. A highly desirable minifigure now finally has it. in a big set, do you reckon they will exclude minifigures from printing? Because Lego probably would have known about Gringotts for a number of years. Do you reckon they purposely did include printing because they knew she was going to be part of a really expensive set down the line?
I find it hard not to believe.
Yeah.
But I mean,
they might have had it as trying to put a positive spin on it, be like, oh, this is an important bit for Bellatrix, so this is a tribute to her almost. But business, like that's an extra reason to buy it, isn't it?
Yeah.
But haven't they? I mean, Tech can probably speak more to it with some of the Star Wars ones and the big things. Like, didn't the Mace Windu in the Republic fighter or the Republic gunship, wasn't he originally like exclusive, or was it the other commander in there, and then we got it cheap? Was it the Republic tank or something?
Yeah. So with the gunship, you got Mace Windu and you got the clone commander. The clone commander then ended up in the figure pack that was like $13.50, and then also the advent calendar last year.
Yeah.
The Mace Windu wasn't quite the same. Like the torso on the one in the gunship has like dirt stains and like sand stains because he's meant to be from the Geonosis from episode 2. The one in the fighter tank, I personally think is miles better because it's got arm printing and it's got like the Clone Wars, like the clone armor on his forearm and stuff like that. And it's like a clean torso. I think the legs and the face are the same in both, but yeah, like just examples like that. I think they definitely retract it. But it's also a weird stance because surely it costs more for them to produce 2 separate figures.
Yeah.
Like at the same, like especially if it's at the same time, like.
But I've got my spreadsheet and the arm printing isn't as important though. Separation.
Yeah. Somebody clip that, please.
Would you like fewer figures in a set if it meant? So would you accept 10 minifigures and they could all be exclusive, but they don't have any leg printing? Or would you accept 5 minifigures that had leg printing and maybe arm printing as well?
Or maybe go to... I'll let Tex in a sec. Maybe go the other way, and as Tex pointed out, rather than having 2 separate torsos and you compromise on not having the arm printing, have one, do it right, and then have the arm printing on it. That would be my take, but I mean, Tech?
I think it's tricky because, like I said, Star Wars, unfortunately for Lego, is one of those where the costumes, and Harry Potter is similar as well, where the costumes in the shows or in the films are fantastic, and they're so distinctly from Star Wars or from Harry Potter and like in that universe that it is really difficult to find a justification on a lot of the figures to not have leg printing. Arm printing, I guess, is a bit more debatable, but leg printing especially is quite tricky. Would I prefer?
Your figures like that, don't you? Off the dream.
Yeah, they're fantastic. Same with Monkey Kid as well. Like the molds and stuff and the prints and those figures are just fantastic. Like,
although I have noticed there's no arm printing on these on the dream.
Oh, outrageous! Put it in the bin. I think I just want figures done to the best of their ability. It's such a tricky one. I don't know. What about?
They're gonna do what they can. There's an element of like, what can you get away with, right? Like, most people aren't gonna be too fussed, especially if you're aiming at a kids. I think unfortunately for Lego, Star Wars fans are very, and like probably Harry Potter, very particular, and they will pick up on the like lack of accuracy. But for me, kids aren't going to care.
So for me, when I'm not too fussed. Occasional arm printing's great, but if I get like a great number of minifigures and a lot of them haven't got arm printing, I'm all right with that. But sometimes when we get like a leak, for example, through Brick Clicker or Promo Bricks, and we find out that, for Harry Potter, 10 minifigures are coming out, I think, right, if one of them's going to have Lego arm printing, make sure it's this character, because you think, do you know what, that character's not going to appear in another set anytime soon. Whereas the other 9, I've got a good chance. So I always think, do you know what, if they make that minifigure have leg printing and arm printing, prioritize that one, because they could always, and they might bring out a character which they've purposely made sure that they haven't got leg printing, but down the line they might bring another one out with leg printing. It technically becomes a new minifigure, desirable, and so on. But yeah, if it's a character that's less likely to appear again, prioritize that.
I have my gut feeling tells me that it's a matter of price, because it's very, very strange. For example, the set that I'm building at the moment, €30, the Star Wars Christmas set. How can it be that I get, I don't know, 4 minifigures, and 2 of them with very nice printing?
You got the new Christmas jumpers.
Yeah, with Christmas jumpers.
Well, the other real kicker on that too is if it holds true, that set is going to have a 3-month shelf life.
That's right.
Yeah. That's assuming that it's not re-released next Christmas or something like that. But assuming that, yes, it's got a 3-month shelf life, and you got 2 new printed minifigs. And how much was that? Was it €25? 30?
€29 in Lego Store. So I'm not really sure if it ever goes to Amazon, but it's quite a sizable build to it. Now imagine the Star Wars Advent calendar, €38. And everyone buys it for the Christmas jumpers. And a handful of bricks and pieces that you have loads of in your loose bricks collection.
Such a decent set. I'm going to be getting that very soon, and I'm going to bung all the Christmas Star Wars minifigures from the past 4 or 5 years into that set. I think that's quite a nice little.
My other half's just bought me that set, but I'm not allowed it till Christmas. So.
You can't build it until next Christmas either, because it was too late.
I ordered it. It arrived. It's just right. I'll take that. Thank you. Oh no!
But Nicole, isn't that set? Have you come across the new printed? Is it Jedi? What is it? The book that's part of it. Is that right?
Yeah, right. The book
new,
is
it's not
printed as well.
I think that the book is probably the biggest feature from that set. I know we got the Christmas jumpers, but isn't that quite a heater for Star Wars?
It's like the Jedi text, right? It's meant to be like Jedi text.
It's Ray in this set, I'm guessing.
Right.
Yes, I think so. I picked up today.
Is that printed? That book? Is that printed?
Yes. Yeah. There are no stickers in the set.
Always a winner.
A few of them now.
Yeah.
I'm convinced, like absolutely convinced, that would be a £40/ $45 set if they were original trilogy characters. Like I was looking. True. I was looking at it in the store today, and I ended up picking it up because I do like collecting the Christmas jumper ones. So I was like, there is just no way. Like it's a decent set. It feels like good value for the money. But if they had put like Han, Chewie, Leia, and Luke in there,
nostalgia tax and
double.
and I'll do this as a setup for tech, and if it was Rebels, it would probably be $75, $90.
Oh, dude, I paid so much for that little Herod. Oh, mate, sign me up.
They might do that. This could be something they do each year. You know, next year they might do an original trilogy one and prequel trilogy.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice. Yeah, I like them sets. I do. I think it's nice.
Yeah,
I love the diorama set.
I know it's based off of the like last year or the year before? It's like Star Wars Lego Star Wars Christmas special, but it would be really good to see a Christmas based Star Wars stage. Yeah, that's so sick, man. That's so good. But yes, if they did the Ghost like seating area with all the in Christmas jumpers, little BB with like choppers. Dude, sign me up.
Now, to be fair, Tech, we'll get into this a bit later on. I've now watched the first 2 seasons of Rebels, and the words can't quite get past my mouth, but it's like Tech was right. It is.
You
so
better
fun.
click that bit as well, Tech.
Yeah.
Tech was right.
Every time Paige tells me I'm wrong, I'm just going to play it.
Got video proof.
I did say.
Yeah.
That said, I haven't watched the next 2 seasons, so maybe it falls off.
If you
It
can,
only gets better.
I was going to say, if you can come out of season 1 and 2 going, you know what, it's actually good. I'm quite enjoying this. Then I think you're very much like what's to come.
Yeah, it's interesting because we just before the stream watched Clone Wars, the 3 episodes, and this is Clone Wars. It's been out now for 5 years. So if you really don't want to know what happens in the next 30 seconds, don't listen. So we just watched the end of season 5 with the kids. The last 3 episodes where you have Ahsoka, who has the trial as such. And my little one loves Ahsoka, and he got to the end of that episode where she just sort of walked off or whatever, and he was spewing. So
I remember watching that, and like I just like because they didn't do like the Clone Wars like intro and outro is always usually very upbeat, and it's especially in the earlier series. But when they're just playing like Binary Sunset, she's walking into this, and then it just stops, and I'm there like when I just remember watching that when I was younger, I'm thinking, oh my god, like it's crazy. It's so good.
I had to convince them to like, look, 4th and 5th series is where it starts to get good.
Yeah.
So anyhow, okay. But that's where they're up to.
Hey, since we're on the Star Wars, a lot of leaks this week, about next year. Exciting.
Yep.
Unique things coming in sets.
Yeah, talking about minifigures and like if they're going to go the extra mile, it will be interesting to see how these rumored anniversary figures are going to look. Again, a bit like Nicole said, if they're going to, and like you said so as well, like if they're going to do these figures and they're good and they're going to be obscure and niche figures, do them right the first time. Like just make no reason to go back and do them anytime soon. Like just absolutely nail them. I'm really excited. I think they've already been clever with it because allegedly they've put the Fives, which is a clone trooper, in an original trilogy set. So anyone that wasn't going to buy that original trilogy set because they're a hardcore Clone Wars fan and now going to buy it, me included, like so they're already being smart about their figure placement, which if they do a good job on the figures and the set still holds out, I won't be mad at. I get it, like it's part of the game. But yeah, I really hope they don't half-ass these figures.
I'm with Tech on that. I'm very interested to see what Darth Malik's going to look like. I'm a big fan of the Knights of the Old Republic games that were made 20 years ago, actually. I'm intrigued to see that one. That came out of the blue. I didn't think Darth Malik was a minifigure they'd ever make.
There's gonna be some really, really obscure ones, which I love. I love that idea because it's very hard for them to try and sell an Old Republic set now. Like I get it, but there is a huge demand, even for like the price of that Revan polybag and stuff. And I think it's that's the sort of thing that I guess even with May 4th gift for purchases, and like if they were to do figures like that, they still do have to have an element of desirability to a general audience because they still want to encourage people to go and buy through them. If the general fan doesn't have a clue who the character is, they might not be incentivized to go and get the figure. But this is like a really interesting, and the fact that we've got 2 very deep lore-based characters coming, I'm really interested to see what the other ones could be.
Didn't I see correctly that they were about to re-release like a collection of Star Wars games, like about 7 of the games is like a classics remastered or something.
I didn't
I
know.
thought there's like Force Unleashed, the couple of recent ones. There's like 7 games or something, which I can't remember if I saw it as like a pre-order or something like that. So it's usually these things are not unrelated. It's sort of like releasing that will give you a couple of figures to go along with it. Because I think
if we get Starkiller figure from, I don't know if anyone's played the Force Unleashed games, but they were fantastic.
He's Starkiller. I played them ages ago, and I've heard the name since. Right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's Galen Marek. Those Force Unleashed games were fantastic, and I know that the Inquisitor from the Ahsoka show was like rumored. Like a lot of people were hoping that he was going to be, but that guy is just too OP to be in Star Wars lore and like not be around in the movies. Like those games are fantastic. So if they're bringing those back out, then that's cool. I might even have to. I'm not a gamer anymore, but that I could have to go and play those if they've remastered them.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find a quick little thing, doing a search for it online. I mean, it sounds like you got...
Well, there's an Old Republic remake, but
there is.
Okay, yeah, no, it looks like what is it here? It's called the getting all the stupid GDPR stuff. Heritage Pack. Okay. 7 classic games. Nice. The Old Republic 1 and 2 will be digital downloads. Bundle. It's at least for the Switch for £60. So it looks like Republic Command, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast, Force Unleashed, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, and Star Wars Racer, or like Pod Racer. So yeah, that was
okay, so I've got like tinfoil hat theories now of like maybe these figures have. I can't see where Fives may have. No, he wouldn't appear in Commando. That's a bit too early, maybe. But like tinfoil hat is if they go and visit like these games and then give us characters from these games, like that could be sick. I would love like a Ben Quadinaro's minifigure for the pod race. Like if they give us one of those like other pod race aliens, that could be sick. Although I do know it is also meant to be celebrating like 25 years of Lego Star Wars, so they're probably doing the Old Republic ones because they have visited that at some point. I can't imagine them doing too many like completely new things that they haven't touched before. But yeah, I'm really interested to see what other figures they go with.
Yeah, because it's the other thing too is like people like me, you're aware of the games, but only collecting, or not collecting, but coming into it recently. Never had a chance for some of these figures. Don't know who they are. It's that usual sort of thing that's, and this is something which I've been thinking about lately, and I think Star Wars does really well, is always getting the next generation of fans into it, and being able to then go back if you missed stuff because you weren't into it at that point, getting something out of it.
Yeah.
Because that's something which I've seen before in terms of like model trains and things like that. That demographic is really aging like badly. Like it's mainly grandpas who are still interested in that because they've never gotten the younger generation through, which is something Star Wars has done really well. You've had a consistent lot of games, TV shows, kids are coming out in different ways. And even in the past, Tech, when you've spoken or we've chatted, like, you've come into it through Clone Wars era and things like that. So it always makes it generally accessible at different points, which, as the older fans die off, then you've still got a new flesh bone coming through effectively. So,
yeah.
I do like the comparison of Star Wars to trains. Were you a bit of a train spotter in your youth, Matt? Apparently used to be a bit of a thing, right? I don't know.
I never was. It was the sort of thing. My old man was really into trains and things like that.
Yeah, my dad was. He was. Yeah.
Which I so look at it now, it's like, yeah, I guess he is the grandpa generation because you don't necessarily see your dad in that position. Like, but it's one thing when I know a while ago there was a local train club which has a space in London which pays ridiculous rents, and they got in contact with, I think it was London AFOLs, and they wanted to sort of like co-share the space sort of thing because they weren't getting new members in basically to pay for it and things like that. And they sort of turned around and went, well, we don't actually need this space. Like, so no, but it's just interesting. Because I've heard at other shows which are based around like trains, and they have like the model trains, and then they have the Lego in there. Sometimes the train enthusiasts don't like the Lego because they bring in all the new kids and things like that. And it's sort of like, well, we should be getting them sort of thing. And it's
Talking of trains, what about the Orient Express this week?
Yes, what do you think of that?
I'm not a massive train person. Like, I don't know makes and models of trains. Like, I do really like, I do have like a bit of a love for Lego trains, and I have been buying a few and collecting a few. I haven't looked properly because when I saw it break, the only one was like that lifestyle picture that was actually quite far away. But does it fit on normal Lego track, or is it like the UCS?
I think so.
I think they've done it. Yeah.
Something about
this is the thing. Like after
about you need to raise it or something, didn't it?
And I'm glad One Brick Stud's come back on for this. Obviously, the big thing with the Harry Potter Express one, whatever they call it. Sorry if I got the name wrong. It was too big and it didn't fit on normal track. Now, this one does, when you look at it, and I've seen this on Instagram too, and it's really well done. It's like the back of the train with the two coaches, brilliantly done. The front of it sucks. But it's like, well, that's because it's going to fit on track and run on track. So it's kind of like...
God, it was frustrating when they kept saying Hogwarts Express was too big. I was like, no, your track's too small. That's what I said. No. I was more frustrated because there was already a Hogwarts Express on the shelf. You know, just go and get that one. You know, it's the Hogwarts Ultimate Collector's Edition, which you know, it's just in front of me here. It's purely a display piece. It's not designed to run on track, and that's it really. And I had you know, a few Star Wars fanatics going at me, and I was like, well, okay, my Hogwarts Express doesn't roll, your Razor Crest doesn't fly, you know. I'm a bit defensive, but no, I get the point. But yeah, it is too big. It was too big. Yeah, but
I've been told by someone that I trust, and so I'm pretty sure it's true, but I have the evidence to back it up. But I believe there's a specific type of gauge track that you can buy for model trains that fits the Harry Potter like UCS Hogwarts Express near on perfectly. So you could if you could motorize it, then maybe you could put it on that track, and it would be interesting to see how that would.
Yeah, I've seen it motorized once before, but I didn't know how they did that. Yeah, but yeah, I've seen it motorized. Yeah,
I'd be interested to see how that. But the one going back to the Orient Express, the carriages do look fantastic. They look like they'd really struggle around Lego corners, though. They're really long comparatively again to like the locomotive itself.
I like the level of detail that it's got. Obviously, you know, you want Express, you want luxury. That's what it's all about, and the little tiny details in it. And,
the gold accents looks nice.
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting to just thinking of then compare what was the other one that people really liked? Was it the Flying Scotsman?
No,
what was the green one?
Green one, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, what is it called? I can't think of it now.
I'm going to look it up. I know someone sort of mentioned it.
Lantern?
Oh, no.
I'm not talking Green Lantern.
What is it? It's not the crocodile, right? Is it the something? Is it Midnight? Something Midnight.
Midnight Express? I'm thinking wrestling.
No.
Thank you. Yeah, Emerald Knight.
Emerald Knight.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, not Green Lantern. What the hell am I on about?
That's so close that I can see where you freelancer.
As soon as Simon put that in the chat, I'm sort of like, actually, no, that's me. That's
not crazy.
Slaughtered.
But the point being, it'll be interesting to see, because I thought that engine on the Emerald Knight was actually quite a big one. Well, maybe I'm imagining it.
Yeah, that was a bit before my fascination for Lego trains came in.
Okay, I can kind of see. It looks like because of the way they've got the tender, maybe they have been able to get around the whole turning thing. I'm just trying to get a big enough image that can show up on screen, which is probably not going to happen. Don't know how well it is.
Great, isn't it? I'm not too fussed about trains, but that looks amazing.
It's really.
But I think the thing is that wheel
at the back pivots, does it?
Yeah, I think that's going to be floating, and then the tender can be separate.
Right.
And then if you've got those two, and those ones turn separately. So
yeah.
But I guess this is going to be then how close is this to the source material versus the Emerald Knight? Sorry, the new one. Oh, God, I'm going to get them confused. Orient Express.
Orient Express, yeah.
But I think, it's going to make for some interesting discussions now. Maybe the Hogwarts one gets reconsidered in that light and going, well, actually, to get it that big and make it worthwhile, you don't want it running on the track because we've now got this other one which it's too much of a compromise.
I mean, personally, I'd rather have it as a display piece. I wouldn't want it. I haven't got a track. I wouldn't want it to run on a track. I just want to have it on display. So that's why I like the smaller version, with Hogmead Station. That they did. I like that version. Yeah.
I mean, I'm an AFOL who's I ain't got a Lego City, so I'm as box standard as you can possibly get. See a set, buy it, build it, display it, enjoy it. I don't have cities. And I know, Lego design sets not specifically for a certain type of AFOL, but it's I'll just have it as a display piece. It does look good. It does look good, and it does look like a good display piece. Orient Express. I'm happy with it. It looks a little bit like the Hogwarts Express from the Hogmead Village Station set. Obviously, a little bit fleshed out with a few more, brick pieces and so on. But it's good. It's cool.
I've checked the length of my shelves as well. I'm tempted.
I'm sure you could always flog a carriage if you was a little bit long. So.
Yeah.
The Hogwarts Express is long. The Ultimate Collection is very long.
Yeah.
And TJ brings up an interesting thing. Do we know if it's going to be motorized out of the box? Because I think I saw, what was it, 300 US?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be something.
I imagine if it fits on Lego Track, they tend to make them relatively easy to switch out.
Unless they find a different solution, because theoretically you can have a train that is pushed if you would put the motor at the back in a carrot. If they brought out the set and then...
it doesn't need to be in the engine, no.
Doesn't need to be in the engine. I guess the difference being in the past, you've generally not had trains this expensive and not had motors.
Yeah.
So, if it's a $300, £250 set, and then you got to do a motor on top of that. But then again, I guess it comes down to what percentage of people actually put motors in it. As what you were sort of saying there, Chris, build it, display it, have fun. 10% of people want to put a motor in it, and those 10% of people, most of them have excess motors floating around anyhow.
And that would be totally reasonable and even a good idea if Lego motors weren't so expensive. Can you imagine if there were a pack of, let's say, 20 euros, a hub, a motor, and a controller, whole package, 20 euros, and then a reasonably priced car or a train, and then you can decide for yourself whether you want the motor or not.
Yeah, Nicole, you got a city. Would you rather have had the Orient Express smaller but with a motorized feature, or no motorized feature, bigger train, but then you've got that option to then motorize it for your city?
Yeah, I always would prefer if you have it separate, but reasonably priced. That's the point. I always get a shock when I look at Lego online. I always think that I, by mistake, ended up in a different country, that this is not euro, but some other currency. Like, that's a lot for one motor, and then I need a hub and a controller. I really want a controller, and the whole train shouldn't be as expensive as these 3 components are.
Can I just ask, Nicole, are your trains always on strikes? I've never actually seen them go round.
I can't afford the motors and the hubs to get them going together.
Oh, we've missed jokes.
Speaking of, Nicole's got a great point though, because for an upcoming mock, I'm going to need. We've been looking at like getting some train motors, and the motors themselves are fairly reasonable. It's the fact that you have to buy a hub that is, I don't know what it is retail for you, Nicole, but it's £45 to buy it off Lego here.
Yeah.
And on top of that as well, you've got like, you can't, it's not a rechargeable battery. Like, how in 2023 have we not got a hub that can be like plugged into the socket? It's 6 AAA batteries in one of those hubs.
That's what annoys me. I built the Lighthouse kit, and it's lovely. I liked it. The boys like it on, etc. But to get to the batteries, you know, like you say, I just wish it was rechargeable, because you've got to take half the thing to bloody part.
Yeah. Right.
I can't believe we haven't got a rechargeable battery for this powered up system.
Or just plug a lead in the side of it.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's
screw it and everything. Take it out.
Right.
It's funny because I could rant on the motor situation for the rest of the stream. I think I did the arm.
You could motor on all night. I know you.
I'll even pay that one. So, that's why sometimes with the trains, I think if you can get one of the passenger trains on a good discount, it's probably better just to cannibalize that thing.
Yeah.
Prime, I saw the train again for 99 euros. I was really, really tempted to buy it. Not because I want a second green train, but just to get the motor, the hub, and the controller. For 99 euros.
I managed to get the last one half price, like the last blue passenger train they did. I got that like half off at Argos. I got it for £60. That's more than the it's less than the price of the Technic components for it. And then Prime Day just gone, very, very briefly, the green train went to £85, and me and Sam were looking at it. We're like, should we get this? Should we not? Should we get it? Should we not? And then we went to go get it the next day, and it had gone back up to like 100. So at that point, it's a bit like, because I like Lego trains. I'm not going to be a completionist about it. I really don't like the look of the green train. But what can be good with those trains is if you do want to strip it for the power functions, there is still a market for people with cities that either want more carriages or want the other end of it at least and stuff. So there is some value in getting those, like you said, Matt, and kind of cannibalizing them a bit.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have track. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sort of thing. And so, okay, cool. We're starting to head into a point where I thought we were going to wander off into some Ahsoka discussion. And I know Trevor, you may wish to drop out because
I need to catch up. I need to do some serious catching up on that. I haven't been able to with things going on.
Great. So look, it's great to have you back and see you around.
It's great to be back. Thank you for having me back, Matt. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Seeing you, mate.
Lovely. Yeah, good seeing you.
Oh, it was amazing.
And obviously you've got your Hocus Pocus releasing tomorrow, 13, 13, 13, 13. Just say 13 and another whatever times until we get to it. Beyond that, do you want to give a bit of a plug and anything that you were building tonight?
Yeah, well, tonight I've built a little Boba Fett mech.
Nice.
Nice.
So that can go with the Stormtrooper I built the other week.
Cool.
Nice. The minifigure of that is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. We're on about print, so you can see that. Bring the light closer.
Could be minifigure of the year, that.
And yarn printing.
That's got on printing. £12.
Yeah.
It's got everything.
Yeah. It's a fair amount of bits and pieces and all the rest of it. And okay. Yeah, I'll just let Trevor finish.
So tomorrow it's Friday the 13th, but I don't want you to be scared. Don't be worried. Head over to Trevor's videos because it's just a bunch of hocus pocus. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Okay then. So looking forward to it. I know you put a ton of work into it, as we even saw just at the beginning of the stream, doing the promo, just doing the little extra mile in terms of making brooms look like they're walking and things like that.
It's interesting after putting all this work in, to get it out there in the domain and just seeing what people's views are and seeing what they think. It's that's what makes me happy now is people going to go and watch it. So I hope it does.
Are you going to do a live?
I'm going to be at work because of the time I chose, but I'm going to try and have a late dinner. So I'm going to try and sneakily log on so I can. I'm going to have my dinner at 1. So hopefully I can. I can be part of the chat then. Log in. So fingers crossed. So yes, I'd like to be. Yeah. So be there, everybody. Come on. Let's give it some love, and I'm going to put a little ad out tomorrow, so on Instagram, so that it's out there. So just enjoy. I hope you enjoy it. And thank you for having me back. Sorry, I've been a bit around lately, but I appreciate it.
No, you sort of get and understand. Life happens in the meantime. And just a quick one there. Do you actually have the Darth Vader one as well, or just those two?
No, just those two. I'm looking for the Darth Vader one next. Yeah.
Ricky Tyler's comment there, but if you don't have it, cool. I've always loved having you back, and good to see that you're still on form with your dad jokes and that stuff. And don't worry, usually in December I do once a day advent calendar opening, like just a quick short, and they've always got really bad dad jokes in it. So I can't.
I'll look forward to those then. Look forward to them. Yeah. And congratulations again, Tech.
Thank you, Trevor. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Wish you all the best, mate.
Thank you, buddy.
Excellent. Cheers. Okay then, Trevor.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, dude.
Bye.
Take care.
And so with that, we're going to now head into the Ahsoka part of the stream. It's going to be heavy spoilers and everything like that. So if you are wanting to watch it and you don't want to hear the spoilers and everything, now would be a time to sort of exit stage right, as it would be. Otherwise, we might just sort of start getting into it a little bit. Going to hopefully have TJ joining in a little bit. I know he's been in the chat. If you want to come a bit early, that's fine. And probably in a little bit, Speak of the Devil. We'll just welcome in TJ. Great to have you in. How are you going?
I'm doing all right. Glad to be here.
Excellent. So, always good to have you in. I mean, you've been in for, I think, all of them that we've done
almost
so far.
All of them.
Yeah. So, and Amber Liar, unfortunately, Just couldn't make this evening. Got a message just a bit earlier, so hope that she is doing well, and we miss having her in. And in probably, I guess, 45 minutes from now, give or take, Brickheadz going to pop in and have a bit of a chat. And
brace yourself, people.
Brace yourself. Ahsoka's biggest fan.
So yeah, well, we might all sit here and sing Kumbaya about Ahsoka and be drinking all the Kool-Aid. Brickheadz will bring a different point of view, shall we say. So okay, cool. I think we'll just start off tech. I think first and foremost, I've kind of flogged the format from you, so props to you. For those who are sort of unaware, I think is it Mando season 2? You'd been doing pretty much a very similar sort of thing. I mean, you'd make a dedicated stream. I was on a lot of those. I think we did Mando a couple of seasons, Boba Fett, Andor. Did we do a Bad Batch season?
I don't. Did we do like one episode on Bad Batch? I can't quite remember. I definitely wouldn't have had the patience to commit to 16 weeks of talking about the Bad Batch. I would have got the reputation like Hive, I think.
Yeah, I thought we did a couple of. Well, what was anyhow? Whatever. So short version.
Kenobi as well.
Sorry?
Kenobi as well.
Yeah. So always enjoyed doing those. It was great just to always get together and things like that. Obviously, Tech, you weren't able to do it for this time around for life reasons and all sorts of things. So I thought we'd just do it in the last hour of our sort of stream and that. And I think we've generally really enjoyed it and been good chances to bounce ideas around things. So this is just sort of a summary of the whole block of 8 episodes as a season. And big loaded question, what was your overall impression of the series, and maybe a score out of 10 so we get a bit of a flavor of where you're sitting at with it?
I'm at 9 out of 10, I think, for Ahsoka as the show as a whole. I really enjoyed it. I did really, really enjoy it. I think Ahsoka is a character I didn't necessarily want to say that I've grown up on, because I was like into my teens when she got introduced into Star Wars, but it's certainly a character that I've followed from. I went and saw her introduction into Star Wars like in the cinema, and she was not a well-received character for a good couple of years until like really season 3, 4 of Clone Wars was when people actually started to sort of turn and like her. So and I know a lot of people are kind of saying she's a bit oversaturated as a character. She sort of seems to appear in everything. But no, I really, really enjoyed the show. I think there's a lot of deep lore that it goes into in Star Wars that more hardcore fans can appreciate. And then on the flip side, I think that it kind of juggled the information that they fed to the audience to tell this specific story. I think they integrated exactly what they needed to quite well for the more casual fan. It is hard for me to say that truly without a biased opinion, because I don't know what it feels like to watch Ahsoka as a casual fan that maybe doesn't know a lot of that nuance and stuff. But from what people have said that are more casual fans, they've still managed to get a decent amount of enjoyment from the show. Like anything, there's going to be things that you would change, or you would like to see, or you would like to see more explanation on. But as a broad appeal Star Wars show, I think it has been rather successful.
Okay, great. No, it's good just to get a bit of an overview. I think, as I sort of hinted at, we've generally really enjoyed it and ranked it highly. In the chat too, if you want to give it a score out of 10, what you sort of liked, I'll go around everyone here just briefly and do that. And the other thing, the next sort of question round would be sort of one highlight from the series, something that you really loved, either didn't expect or whatever, and then also to a we'll call it a low light or something you're a little bit disappointed with. So I think with that, Brick Askew, Ollie, just quickly sort of your general score for the series overall and just top level sort of thoughts on it.
Yeah, I loved it. So I think probably a 9 out of 10. But I don't know. I struggle to give anything ever a 10 out of 10 because that's just like perfection. Yeah, I think it was my favorite Star Wars show, even over Andor. Yeah, like Tech said, like the way they went into the deep lore, I love that because I don't know if it made me realize. I don't know if I'd say I was bored of like Jedi stuff, but it's been done so much. It's just good to see other stuff and having it introduced to like a wider audience because yeah, with like casual viewers now being opened up to all of the like the Night Sisters and the gods whose name I completely forget right now, but yeah, all of that and just new characters, and it wasn't just straightforward good and bad. There's lots of grey area which you haven't really seen much before. Yeah, and it was good. So talking with the casual viewers, it's been good. I've got a little chat at work going between 3 of us, and 2 of us are quite a hardcore fans. I didn't realise how hardcore a fan I was until this season, but yeah, I would like talking about it. And then another guy who is a casual fan, and it was funny seeing when Thrawn came in. He's like, "So what's Thrawn's superpower?" And the other guy's like, "He's got political powers." Yeah, yeah. But yeah, everyone seemed to enjoy it. Like we've been saying today, like it's a bit weird not having Ahsoka. Like, what? What do we do now? But yeah, highlights. I think.
I think we'll come back to the highlight because.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I was giving people more just a sort of a heads up rather than putting someone on the spot and you go, oh, actually, I haven't thought that. So,
cool, good.
Cool.
I'm so glad because I'm frank. To be frank, I'm trying to find something that I don't like, a low light. Now I know within 30 seconds I need to find something not to like about it. Please tell me something.
We'll get to that. So, if not, you can just say I defer to Mr. Brick Hive. So Nicole, just generally score out of 10 and sort of just thoughts on the series.
I would score it a 9 out of 10 right now. I could imagine that the more seasons that we get and the more often that I will rewatch it, that it will be a 10 out of 10. Because the only reason that I score it not 10 out of 10 is that I'm still a bit struggling to transition from the animated series to real action. I came to peace with Ahsoka, still struggling with Sabine. For some reason, she's great, but she's not the Sabine that is in my mind. If it were, if I hadn't known her before, she would be amazing. It's just I can't really get them into one person yet.
She's not Sabine from Rebels though. She's kind of petulant and annoying to me. So I'm glad she's grown up a bit. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So okay. It's interesting that idea of transitioning from animation to live action, and certainly it certainly stuck out or was I think relatively well done when they did that Clone Wars flashback with Anakin or the World Between Worlds or whatever that was. And yeah, there's a link to a video down below mentioned a couple of times. It's by CaptainMidnight and it's talking about, although it's Marvel miniseries, these 6 to 8 episodes, how they exist. They're not your traditional 13, 20 sort of episode series, like particularly the Clone Wars cartoon, the animation, where you could have discrete episodes building up to a larger story. And they're kind of a bit more, in one view, sort of like an extended movie with lots of pausing, but not as polished. So does that work for it or against it? And that transition from, as you're saying, seeing these characters in animation to now seeing them as live action. So we might come back to that idea. TJ, just sort of score out of 10 and general thoughts of the series.
I would score it a 9 out of 10. I really, really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It might be my favorite live action Star Wars show. I mean, I feel like Andor is really the only one that's like semi-comparable, like in terms of ranking, but Andor is such a different direction with Star Wars than Ahsoka is, so it's kind of hard to compare the two. But for me, I don't usually go back and rewatch a series to prep for a different series. So like when Mando season 3 came out, I didn't go back and rewatch the previous seasons. But for Ahsoka, I think I'd do that. So that's how much I enjoyed it. So if there's a second season, I'd definitely rewatch the first season.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, it's interesting because a lot of times I'm a bit the same. I don't necessarily go back and rewatch things in preparation. Only watching Clone Wars at the moment because the kids have never seen it and sort of, getting through it. But it is interesting with that. And then for me, having watched this, having tried in the past to watch Rebels and never quite getting past the episode, watching them at the same time is very interesting because you see very much like what Nicole's sort of hinting at in terms of Sabine in Rebels is different from the one that we're seeing on screen, and can you reconcile the two? Okay, brilliant. All right, then we had tech before, and One Brick Stud, general thoughts and score out of 10.
Yeah, great. 9.5 out of 10. Just loved it. Every episode, I couldn't really fault, except for that second from last episode that seemed to try and tee up the last episode. But I just loved it. And I'm not a hardcore Star Wars fan. And I know it's tapping into areas of lore I'm just not familiar with. But because you feel that lore and sort of areas of Star Wars you don't know, it's leaving me to go and explore those areas of lore. About the Mortis gods at the end, I want to know a bit more about them. And yeah, it was fantastic, and I loved all the characters. I was not a big fan of Ezra and Sabine. My word, big fan of Balin. What a character he was. And to a point where I was like, because the first few episodes, it was all about like Thrawn's return. And when he returned, it was great. And I can't wait to see what he's going to do next. But I kind of found for the final few episodes, my attention was really focused on Balin more than Thrawn. Thanks to the actor as well, who did such a great job. And the character was really interesting. That was my major highlight. The least thing I liked about Ahsoka was, it still shocks me to this day, Ahsoka, the amount of blaster bolts that could be fired at you, and Ahsoka still hasn't got a crease in her trousers. That's about it. Maybe that I wasn't a big fan of that force jump in the last episode. I just thought that was just a tad silly. But no, fantastic. And Balin's character was the big highlight for me, but also Anakin returning, because I love Hayden Christensen. I think he's brilliant, and seeing him return in the War Between Worlds, that was a great moment. And the sort of scenes that we had, in regards to the Clone Wars, it was fantastic. And I'm a big fan of the Kenobi series. Because I'm a big fan of Obi-Wan Kenobi and so on. But I think this is probably my favorite series. I think since the sequel trilogy, Obi-Wan Kenobi, season 2 of Mandalorian, but I think Ahsoka edges it. It's just brilliant. And you're feeling like the Star Wars is being allowed to breathe now. They're not being restricted by Jedi this, Jedi that. They're now exploring, the wider outlook of Force users. You've got like the Night Sisters and so on. It's it's just great. And you know, disappointing thing is just now we're gonna have to wait to see what happens next. But all in all, great series, almost faultless.
Yep. Okay. Great. Yeah. It's. I think very similarly. There's a few things like that that jump and sort of things like that occasionally just does pull you out of it. But overall, it's interesting that you sort of rank it so highly compared to some of the other series. And something which we might come back to, something's got an interesting there. Top few characters from the series. Anybody disagree with Balin? I think there'd be a strong argument that you're onto something there. Just quickly for me, I think for me it'd be 9 out of 10 for the series. I think unfortunate they get to watch it with my kids, so we can sit on here and be hypercritical on different things, but then you sit down and they're at that age where if they say it's a show for 12-year-olds, well, they're close to that anyhow. So they love it, they get into it, and it's very much been the day before, it's like, oh, can we get up early and just sort of watch it before school sort of thing, and being able to have that time and do that. And one of them loves the Ahsoka character as well, so it's for me, it's always going to have that other aspect added onto it, and that's something hopefully they can remember at some stage down the line. So I think moving on from that, then sort of go quickly just the highlight of the series, something you really liked or went wow or something. And just picking up on One Brick Stud, something that you mentioned in terms of Anakin and that. I think unfortunately our resident predictor of wonderful things which happen, Kerry, because she picked a couple of those. It's like, oh, I wonder next episode if we get Force Ghost Anakin or something like. It's a shame that she couldn't be on, and maybe if we say to her, what will we get in the next series, Gary? Because
she's coming next with lottery numbers as well. That would be fantastic.
So just Brick Askew, favorite moment or thing highlight from the series.
There were so many. I really enjoyed the fact the Night Sisters were brought into it, and the door that opens up, because there's so much cool stuff that can be done with that. There's so much though. There is loads. Just Ahsoka was just being cool. Like, I think Rosario Dawson is just generally like one of the coolest people ever, so she brought that to it. Probably the Night Sisters. I don't know, Balin as well though. Balin was a highlight, but I think not even necessarily a highlight, a specific thing in the show, but one of the things is like really rare that I find for me is like it actually got me excited at the end of nearly every episode. Like I felt like an actual emotion. It wasn't just like moving on to the next episode or whatever. Like I was either excited or tense or whatever. Like I think it was 6 or 7 of the episodes I actually was like, feeling something, which is rare for me. Like I don't get that in TV. So I don't know if that might be the highlight for me. Okay. And low point.
Oh, we might come back to the low light.
Okay, cool.
The highlight first. Okay, brilliant. Yeah, no, it's interesting you mentioned that emotional sort of thing, and then I think as Tech mentioned a bit before, when you have that last episode of the Clone Wars with Ahsoka, and you don't get the fanfare, and it just sort of ends, sort of thing. So I think sometimes, Dave Filoni being involved, I think he's conscious of that. So it's. If that's what has happened there, then that's probably worked well then. Lady McBrick, a highlight for you from the series?
Without doubt, Balin. I at first thought it's because he's the one of the few characters that I did not take over from Rebels, so I did not have to struggle with I know you, why are you now different? But he's in general just he is epic, and he has so much story to tell. even after at the end of season 1, there's a whole life before and after the end of the season that you want to explore with him.
Yeah, and it's a question which I think we'll come to next because Simon's mentioned in the chat and things like that, and something for people to have a bit of a think about. How do we feel in the next season? Either Baylan being recast, digital, where his story would go from here, what you think it should do and shouldn't do. So just a bit of a think in the background. TJ, highlight from the series for you.
Oh gosh, there are so many good things to pick. I think one that stands out for me is Anakin. Just having him come back and the World Between Worlds scenes, that was really nice to see. It was great to see the Anakin Ahsoka dynamic in there as well. I think another just like specific scene for me was Thrawn's arrival, his entrance in episode 6. They put all the soundtracks for the show have been posted. That is like one of the best soundtracks for that. I really enjoy that. And yeah, I mean Baylan as well. There's so many great things to choose from. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Yeah, no, it sounds like, I mean, we're all, I mean, this thing, it's hard to choose, it's like choosing a favorite child or something like that. It's not a choice, which is in a nice position. Certainly, I think Tech, when we've watched some of the other series and done the recaps and things on it, you're sort of like, particularly I'm thinking Boba Fett, you get to the end and it's like, Jesus, why did they even do this series? Like, you have a cool character and you've completely destroyed him and shoehorned in Mando season 2.5 and all sorts of weird things. So it's refreshing to be at a different sort of point, it seems. So with that, Tech, highlight for you?
Yeah, like Ollie said, I got to the end of every episode and I was like, I really liked Andor as a show. I think the way that gets released weekly is kind of does a disservice to the enjoyment of it, where they kind of do it in block episodes. So I would get, despite really enjoying Andor and it being right up there as between, like TJ, with Ahsoka and Andor being the two that are at the top for me. At the end of each episode, I was like so excited for the next episode. I think the second to last episode, I felt like it ended a little bit abruptly. But other than that,
I think that was the one that I didn't have the thing.
I could do with another 10-15 minutes, maybe just inside the temple, or get them have that initial back and forth with Thrawn or something. I think that would have really set up the finale a bit more. But I think, like TJ said, I think if I'm to pick one singular moment throughout the show, it has to be when Thrawn walks through and talks for the first time, because I just I had the biggest smile on my face, because again, like Nicole said, it can be really hard to see these characters that you really enjoy in animation be very different to or even not even necessarily different, but just getting used to seeing them being portrayed as someone else. But Thrawn's voice is so iconic that it would have been really hard to not go with anyone else but Mads Mikkelsen for that. And when he just strolled up and delivered his first line, I just had the biggest grin. I was like punching the air. So I think as a singular moment, like we've all said, there's a lot of things that the show did right, but as a singular moment, that I think has to be it for me.
Oh, brilliant. Excellent. Yeah, it's interesting that you're sort of mirroring Ollie in terms of, each episode, the emotional and leaving more, but then also to having been heavily invested within Rebels and things, being able to then see Thrawn come in and, the same voice actor and things like that. So, yeah, no, it's great to get that from your point of view. One Brick Stud, highlight from the series?
The return of Anakin Skywalker. It's great. Like I said earlier, I've got I absolutely love him. I love him as an actor, the character as well. And yeah, definitely the return of Anakin Skywalker. It's just nice to see that character come back after his Darth Vader days. So I'm just interested to see what's going to happen, because he's going to appear again. We know that. So yeah, for me, and just like the choreography of that fight between Anakin and Ahsoka, it's beautiful. You know, it's just fantastic. And yeah, I think it's that, just that moment where they're in the War Between Worlds. That was my biggest highlight. You know, I think I can confidently say that, even though there was other great moments, Thrawn returns, Balin, and so on. But yeah, it'd have to be when Anakin returned.
Okay. Yep. No, brilliant. Can appreciate that. So for me, I think, as I sort of hinted at before, in terms of, you know, watching with the kids and then just them being excited each week and, you know, being able to just sit down and talk about it. And half the time when, you know, you get to the end of the episode and it stops, it'd be like, what? There's no more. We've got to wait a week. Like, no, like, so in terms of, I guess, the actual content, I would probably lean towards, as everyone said, there's so many great things. So I'll probably go for the Clone Wars flashbacks or that War Between Worlds. And I think maybe it's Hive, I think may have said it, like that young girl actor who did that, fantastic. I like the way that they developed that idea of, you know, we're peacekeepers, but we're warriors. We're like, you know, this really sort of thing, and the way that they played against that in terms of Anakin allegedly, you know, joking, and she's saying you need to take this seriously and things like that. And it's like, well, what would you have me do, sort of thing. And, you know, really putting on that, seeing that in live action. And I think with that, we are, just see here, popped in, we're joined by a good friend for the channel. It's actually been quite a while since I streamed with them. And I'm just trying to think of how else to do the introduction for this. Probably just pull it up here. I got it. One of my first little minifig paintings was of their sneak peek. I think this was for your birthday a couple of years ago. So always great to have him in, and been thoroughly entertained by his takes on Ahsoka recently. So welcome in, and he's called himself Darth Hive. How you going?
Bro. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? Sorry I'm late. Traffic was horrendous in Baltimore. I didn't even get a chance to put on like a nice shirt or anything. I threw on my Lego hat and that was it. Just walked in the door.
Brilliant. Yeah. So I think we just sort of covered off. We just went around quickly, everyone giving a score out of 10. I think most of us settled on 9s, and then we just done a bit of a highlight. So I think we'll see what Hive comes up with a score. I think everyone can have, and we're going to be respectful of each other's opinion. So it depends on what comes. And
it's funny, Matt didn't say that when we were talking about our opinions. Yeah,
no, I know. I usually give some pretty hot takes on stuff.
So, yeah. Anyhow, we'll just sort of see. I think generally, obviously, I've seen a lot of Hive's streams in that. I actually find I agree with a lot of what he says. I think the threshold of my caring might be in a different place. So, but with that said, Hive, score out of 10 and sort of thoughts on the series.
Giving it a 5 would be pushing it. You know, I really would stick maybe a 4, 4.5. And look, I know everybody thinks like, you know, I'm over exaggerating stuff, and I am kind of, you know, most of the time. But the thing about Ahsoka, there was a lot of stuff I did like in it. There's a lot of little trinkets, neat stuff. There was definitely a lot of neat Easter eggs, a lot of cool scenes. The visuals were fine. Didn't have no issues with that. My biggest problem is the writing and the directing. I just don't feel enough stuff was fleshed out good. There was no character development. There was really no story arc to almost anybody. There was plot points to move a plot forward, but there wasn't really anything bigger. I thought that, I don't know. It just, there were so many things that they could have done way better. I mean, like the one of the biggest things that sticks out to me is the whole the Ahsoka Anakin thing. You know, whether it was the World Between Worlds or wasn't, I don't even know what it was, because if it was the World Between Worlds, it didn't seem like it was from Rebels. It didn't even seem like it had the same point to it. You know what I mean? But my whole thing was like in all these earlier episodes building up to that, with their long drawn out dull dialogue or whatever, it would have been so much more interesting to hear Anakin or Ahsoka talk about to anybody, Sabine, to Hera, to the droid, you know, about either, you know, the Clone Wars, you know, how she never was able to let stuff go, or it was still haunting her, or maybe pulling towards the dark side, or, you know, there's like so many different things that they could have done that would have paid off that whole sequence so much better, because it was awesome. And the other thing I absolutely enjoyed immensely was Anakin. I don't feel like there was anything bad about Anakin at all at the show. Now, I'm jealous that, you know, Anakin, we didn't really get to see Anakin for his kids or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's just been all over Ahsoka. But, you know, but it was still awesome to see him. His demeanor and his acting chops, as far as that stuff goes, was great. Dude, I don't think anybody can touch him with a lightsaber. I really, I don't know. Maybe like Ray Park, Darth Maul, you know, because he's got real training with that kind of stuff. But like, dude, when he spins that lightsaber around and everything, man, like, I just don't think anybody really touches what he's done. So there was a lot of good stuff. It was just overall, it just fell flat for me. I thought it was going to do a lot more. I thought Filoni was going to, you know, explain a lot more stuff better. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's tons of things like they didn't explain. They left us hanging. We don't know what's going on with it. And I don't know a lot of stuff. And I have watched Rebels and Clone Wars and stuff, but I've had to explain tons of stuff to my wife who hasn't seen those shows. She still loves Ahsoka. She just doesn't understand a lot of it. You know what I mean? So yeah. Other than that,
yeah.
Great. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. It's certainly, there's, as I sort of said, there's a lot of things you brought up in your streams, and, you know, sort of go, yeah, that kind of didn't explain that. And that, you know, was it the world between worlds? Was it a dream? Was it like, you know, there are elements where we're sort of guessing it. There are aspects too of major plot points in terms of, I think you brought it up in the past. If Thrawn's so great at this, why is he leaving Ezra running around, you know?
Dude.
Then he's got 3 Jedis running around, and yeah, there's things
like Thrawn was, dude. I didn't understand Thrawn at all. I didn't understand Thrawn. I didn't understand the demeanor around Thrawn, like with the characters, because everybody was just pushing in the first few episodes of the series, man, or probably further than that. Just how Apocalypse was going to rain down if Thrawn was able to get over here, and I won't even get into Sabine, but like. Yeah, I mean, he let Ezra go. He let Sabine go, gave her weapons, gave her transportation to go find Ezra. You know what I mean? Then he eventually let Ahsoka go. He sends down troops, pulls them back, sends 2 TIE fighters. You know what I mean? Then tries to rain hellfire on him. Like, what is he doing? And this whole time, he could have left. He could have left, and he didn't. He even told Morgan in the beginning, like, it doesn't matter if they get stranded. We'll just, you know, whatever. But like. So I didn't understand Thrawn. And then even then, out of all the stuff Sabine did, Ahsoka just acted totally cool with her at the end. Like, hey, I make mistakes too. It's like, wait, that's not how you were acting about this in the beginning. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
But the whole timing, since you mentioned it, Thrawn just sitting there, knowing that Ahsoka and Sabine, that they are coming, as much time as he takes for the scenes leading up to it,
Right.
Ahsoka and Sabine and Ezra take their time as well, because they must have assumed that he's up and leaving right away, and they are just strolling around like as if they had all the time in the world.
Yeah. So I mean, and obviously this is all just my opinions, you know, clearly, you know what I mean? Because obviously a lot of people like it, you know what I mean? I really wanted it to be a lot better than it was. I had a lot of faith in Filoni, you know what I mean? I like Ahsoka. I just thought it was going to be a lot better than it was. And I just thought it wasn't. And now, and look, and it's not just me. I was doing some research on it, and the numbers aren't as good as I thought they would be. And the target demographic, the biggest demographic that's been watching this is older millennials. So what does that mean? Who are older millennials? They're the ones that grew up with prequels, grew up with Clone Wars, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I don't want to completely just crap all over it because there was a lot of good stuff. I just really wish they would have done more with it. And it just felt like they just left a lot of stuff hollow. Dude, Balin and Shin, like, you know, I know we got to have some cliffhangers, but like, what even was that, man?
Yeah. No,
hey, Shin clearly looks like what we'll probably figure out what's going on with Shin. But like, again, if you've never seen Rebels, you don't understand the father and the son and the daughter. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna wonder, like, what are these statues? What is he pointing at? What is Balin doing? Like, what is all this stuff? You know?
Yeah, they've left loads of stuff. I don't understand. That is,
but if you hadn't seen Rebels, you wouldn't have known in the first place why we go after Thrawn at all. Who is he? Why is he important?
That was something interesting too, because I don't remember what episode it was, but like I was like, you know, like acting like me, just like screaming at the TV. You know what I mean? My wife's like, what's wrong? So I told her to pause it, and I pulled up that last scene with Ezra and Thrawn, and I showed it to her. And then she was the same way. She's like, well, I don't understand. Like, how did this happen then? Why didn't Thrawn kill him or at least take him prisoner? Or, you know, like, you would think that would be the first thing Thrawn did, you know? Like, so, you know, I mean, I liked a lot of stuff. And if I just fall back into it and just appreciate just, you know, more of the visuals than anything, then, you know, I don't have too much of an issue. But I don't know. Disney, I don't know. It's hard to watch Andor and see the great story, you know, the development, the character arcs, you know, the setup, the payoffs, the dialogue, the writing, the direct, like all this stuff, man. You watch something like that, and then you watch some of this other stuff, and you're like, okay, I mean, I'm not saying you can't enjoy it, but
I think, and this is where I've sort of been hinting at the last couple of weeks in terms of how do these miniseries work. I think with Andor, because generally that was well received, okay, and again, I think this is something which I did a lot on the Streams of Tech. I didn't want to see a lightsaber in that series because I didn't think that it felt that was the type of series it was. Right. But on reflection with it, I think within that series, you had very discrete blocks and you knew what was going on. The first 2 episodes were like a thriller, setting it up, you know, who's getting killed. The next 3 episodes were, okay, this is a heist. And then the last 3 episodes, this is a prison break. Like, it's very clear what was going on. Whereas a lot of these other series where you've got 6 to 8 episodes, again, it's this sort of thing. It's like an extended movie, but it's not. It can't be, you know, 13 to 22 episodes where each episode does something leading to a bigger story. And it just feels to me inherent. You're trying to do something within this mini series, but as sort of what, you know, Brandon or Hive's picking up on, your story's kind of all over the place and you don't get enough to know what's going on, or you don't have enough. I mean, what do other sort of people think in terms of it working as a mini series or not?
I think it works as a mini series only if they have about 3 other series to explain everything that they've set up now. And then that also means that they've limited themselves because they've got so much to explain. That was going to be my low point, that they have set up too much. They can't. They've limited themselves.
Well, the sad part is
a lot of it away already.
I mean, you don't. If they would have just done better writing and explained stuff a little bit better, you don't need to watch Rebels or Clone Wars to understand who Hera's son is. You know, who the Night Sisters are. Like what all the, because she was like, man, there's witches in the show. I was like, yeah. Like for instance, like. But sometimes the thing is they don't even follow their own rules with stuff. And that's what I don't understand about Filoni. Because I know Filoni loves Star Wars. I know he respects it. You know, I've heard the man talk about it. We all have, you know what I mean? But how does... I can buy that Jason has the Force. It makes total sense because of Kanan, okay? But when Ahsoka was in the World Between Worlds or whatever, how was he hearing lightsabers? And then even more than that, how was Hera hearing lightsabers? You know what I mean? There's all kinds of stuff like that make no sense to me at all. It's like I don't know, and I don't know. And I've asked people, and they don't really know either, or they might make some weird excuse about it. But there's just so much stuff that's just not explained. You know?
Did they? Okay, just taking a step back from, because this is another thing. and we kind of hinted at it here, and I'd be interested in everyone. Did they have too many characters in this series? Because we sort of, for me, Baylan, I think I was sort of said, he was really interested, wanted to see more of him, and then the last thing we see is him staring over Middle Earth, and it's sort of like, what is this? So, was there too many characters, and they just couldn't quite do enough within this series? Does anybody have any thoughts?
I don't know. So obviously, like, Thrawn is going to be the main villain for across these shows, right? So I'm not even sure if in Ahsoka season 2, like, Thrawn has that big a part in it. Not at least until like Ahsoka and Sabine and Ezra not Ezra, but Ahsoka and Sabine like get back to the main galaxy. And I think so they were setting off Thrawn to go back and be in like Mando season 3 and things like that. So there has to be some intrigue for the characters going into Ahsoka season 2, and that leaves the characters that are left on the planet that they're on. So I don't know. I don't think there was. I think they introduced just enough.
Did you feel satisfied with Baylan's story?
I mean, do I want to know more? Absolutely.
But in terms of what you got for this series,
in the context of there was stories for other characters that kind of was more important at that time, I think, yeah, because it wasn't a show about Baylan. Like the main thing, right. The main focus wasn't Baylan. But they created.
Would he have enough to have his own spin-off series?
I think he probably just takes more of a lead in Ahsoka series 2, and it is the main anti-antagonist, I guess.
Yeah.
Because he's not a straightforward character at all. He's very complex, and so that does need its own time to be explored. I think had they tried to do that this season,
yeah,
they could have fumbled real hard if they were still trying to reintroduce Thrawn, reintroduce Ezra, and those other characters as well.
Yeah, that would have been too much in this season. And it's just I was wondering whether he could stand on his own in his own show, because one of the things that I liked about him, he was so confined and so on point. He never had a dialogue unless you count the fight scene with Ahsoka, but he was always very, very on point.
Yeah. So, how moving forward in terms of Baylan, obviously, the actors passed and things like that. What would we like to see? Do we want to see him recast? Do we want to see some creepy 3D deep fake with another actor? Or how would we like to see his story move forward?
Recast. I don't think they're going to move his story forward. I think they ended it like that. I don't think, honestly, they might have shown him again, but I can't see you having a story about Baylan, a story with Shin and Ahsoka and Sabine, and then you still got Ezra and Hera. Like, there's too much to have a story about Baylan. I think that Filoni probably just ended it there, and maybe the movie, but they might have had intention.
See, I feel like they set it up.
Yeah.
Continue. Like that seemed like it was the
It
start.
would seem that way, but how in the world, man, would you?
They're gonna have to
do that?
recast.
Well, I think
at least have it with meat. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I think you're gonna have to recast him. I don't want to sound like this is not like an unsavory comment because the actor's passed away, but you can't be too sentimental in a sense. We've seen this in the past in film where the character carries on, the actor just changes. We saw it in Harry Potter. That's just one at the top of my head. But I know that there was a great number of films still left to go. When they had to change the actor because he passed away, and it worked, and it can work again. And I think it needs to be recast. You can't do some animation on him. I'm with Amber Light. It's a bit creepy. The guy is dead, and he's still tampering with his facial features. And because, like, from what we saw at the end with the Mortis gods, and I know, and again, I'm not a hardcore Star Wars fan, but we saw them in animation. Am I right? The Mortis gods. So maybe it's Filoni's plan to start showing us Mortis gods through live action.
Everybody keeps talking about Aboleth.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that everybody keeps talking about, and I think that probably would lean more towards anything. I feel like she would be calling out to Baylan, because there is definitely like a story there. There's no doubt about that. There's a whole journey there. I feel like it's gonna be, like I said, almost hollow, man, if they try and mix that story in with, second season, or they could do it in the movie. I think it'd be easier maybe to try and do something in a movie, maybe. But I just think about the history behind all of that. You know what I mean? What you would have to build up and touch upon for anybody to really understand it. If they haven't seen, Rebels and stuff, you know what I mean? Like, you would have to try and explain all that.
I think the way they're going is that his story and Ahsoka's is going to be very intertwined, and that's why I think they're going to touch on it in season 2. I think the big plot point was Thrawn getting him, and he's now back in the main galaxy. Like I said, I just can't see. I don't think he's now set up to be the villain or the other. The whole like tie with Ahsoka and the Mortis gods is very strong, and it appears, as we're led to believe from the last clips of that show, that the Mortis, that Baylan is in search of the Mortis gods, and Ahsoka knows a lot about it. So I think that's how they continue the story. I disagree with Hive on the fact that I think that this was the end of his story. I think they very much set it up so that they will be heavily intertwined. I'm also with Chris. I don't think they should recast. I think they should recast him. I think if you are going to carry on with the character's story to the level that it would need to do it justice, and for it to be a nice continuation of what we've had, there we go, Carrie. It'll happen every
It will. She's not live on stream to say that. Here, Paige, I've got 2 of them agreeing.
I've got 2 now. Yeah. But yeah, I think you need to recast. You need to appreciate what Ray Stevenson had done for the character up until this point, and you move on with someone forward. Because, and again, like Chris, I don't want to sound like it's like insensitive at all or anything, but if you try and digitally CGI this guy through 8 episodes of a show where you're trying to heavily focus on him, that is such a huge chunk of the budget of that show going to be going into that, which I think would be much spent better. What I will say is I think they need to be incredibly careful and incredibly picky with who they get to play Baylan again. But yeah, I do think they need to.
Do you feel that has to do with him just not being an established character for so long, or just in general with any actor they could be replaced? Because I would ask the same thing. What if Hayden Christensen passed away and they recast Anakin?
Well, I think they should have.
Because I feel like anybody should be recast.
Yeah, I do.
Look, if you're playing a character of fiction, I no disrespect, but I mean that character lives. You are not the character lives on. You know
no, yeah, I said this to some friends. Like no actor is bigger than a character.
It doesn't mean that people like it.
Yeah, people won't like that. But I mean, I was very much in the camp that I think they've used Luke a few times now with CGI. I don't know why they haven't recast Luke. Like I don't get it. I think it would have the things that took me out of a lot of the scenes that Luke were in were purely down to the fact that if there was a human actor portraying those scenes, it would have been absolutely plausible, absolutely fine.
I think part of this too is putting it out to an audience and seeing the response. Because you can sit there and go, if they're sitting there in Lucasfilm and debating this and having philosophical points of view, I think it's not until you get it out there and you see it and see how the audience, is it like Tech where they just get pulled out of it and it doesn't work and it's creepy and it's whatever, or is it just a matter they say, okay, this is a character or whatever, and it works that way. I think too, just going in terms of the story, I think Baylan is the yin to Ahsoka's yang. I think because she had the issues with the Jedi in terms of the Order and all that sort of thing, I think she's going to be coming at it from a certain point of view. I think he's going to be coming at it from a, it's almost like the different sides to the same coin. And I think going forward, that could set up some interesting back and forth between them in terms of whatever they're doing. I think something we talked about a little bit last week in terms of Ahsoka, the series moving forward, is in this galaxy. Thrawn and whatever's happening with Ezra is probably in a different series or whatever. So I can't really see how you could be jumping backwards and forwards between galaxies unless they're trying to get back there or something like that, which, Jesus, let's move on from that part of the story.
I agree with what Amber Light said a while back about how I think the second season will be really focused heavily on Ahsoka and Sabine out there on that planet, you know what I mean? And obviously Shin and Baylan as well. Yeah, that seems like the direction they would. So the second season is going to come out before the movie, right?
I would like to think so, yeah. I think there's nothing necessarily confirmed as of yet. But yeah, I'd imagine they'd do a season 2 of Ahsoka. The only reason that I would think that they wouldn't do a season 2 of Ahsoka before the film is if they purely don't touch Thrawn and the main universe again, and if season 2 is solely in this universe and the stories are kept completely separate now, then I could see them doing season 2 after. It would feel a little bit weird. I think it'd be nice to have them go back to the main galaxy and see them in the film, even if not for a huge part of it, but like just an appearance to get to get the Ghost Crew reunion in live action on the big screen would be like awesome. So like I said, even if it is for a small part.
Can I just go back to the yin and yang with Baylan and Ahsoka? I don't think it's that clear cut. I think there's more grey area, especially if you bringing the Mortis gods into it. If you assume that he's the father, that's a different role. If he was going to be the son, maybe then, yeah. But he's older. They're kind of coming from a similar angle as well, right? They're both disillusioned with the Jedi. Maybe not Ahsoka so much now, because
man, I would have loved a scene where Baylan and Shin were just sitting down, by a campfire or something, man, just maybe killing some time, and he explained more about what he felt was calling him. You know what I mean? Just talk a little bit about it, man, just to kind of not leave us in the dark about it.
Was that not part of his attraction and his lure and why we want to? Because he was playing the mystery so well, is that not what has set up season 2 potentially to be really great? Is because we might finally get those answers.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great.
Part of it, yes,
definitely.
But I think part of it, no, because the problem which I had, and I think I mentioned it before, it's sort of like you've said to Shin as Baylan, I've trained you to be, this great purpose, and you end up leading some local bandits. No, I'm sorry, I
think that's just by force because she's stuck. Mm-hmm. Because I did see, that's what I'm saying. There was a lot of stuff that they did right. So when she found them and turned on her lightsaber, that was an alpha call right there. That was you see my lightsaber, I'll destroy you. I'm going to lead you all. So I could see her getting an army together almost, you know what I mean, to fight, Ahsoka and Sabine or whatever. But yeah, I mean, just because the tiny bit of dialogue we got from Baylan, talking to Shin and stuff about or Ahsoka was just so much. I soaked every word up, you know what I mean? Because it's not just him as an actor and his presence and his execution of the dialogue and stuff, but it was just, we got more lore about prequel stuff, more information about maybe he knew Anakin, you know, or he, you know, just anything, you know what I mean? Like even like in the Mando, like those little bits of things when we got like the visions from Grogu, like the stuff that he saw, like anything is just so good, you know what I mean, in live action. That so I really would have definitely enjoyed some more dialogue from him, actually from all of them. I mean,
yeah, that's a fair point.
You didn't enjoy the long pauses looking off into space.
Because man, when they did good dialogue, they did really good dialogue. But yeah, man, I don't know.
Yeah, that was a bit of a frustrating thing because it's, you know, sometimes people turn around and go, oh well, you know, it'd be all this CGI and be expensive. No, sit around the campfire, swap stories. Like, you know, I think they even sort of hinted at it in the advertising for it. So like, oh, you know, few knew what Anakin would turn into, and you know, he could have gone a whole diatribe or, you know, a story in terms of what he saw, or like, you know, and you don't have to see that visually. You could accept him telling a story and his point of view on it.
And that's something of the short series as well, right? Talking about going back to miniseries. Like if it was a 13 episodes, they could have got more stuff like that. Or any
Take
stuff.
out some of these long pauses.
I just saw your message, One Brick Stud.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to shoot off. But yeah, again, thank you for having me, and great collaborating with you, Hive. Hope to do that again soon.
Yes.
And again, Tech, congratulations on becoming a dad. More excuse to buy Lego. And, yeah, and that's it really. Yeah.
Any quick things you
what
want to give a plug to?
What's that?
Any quick things you want to give a plug to before you go?
No, nothing much. Just going to probably just do a few uploads on Instagram of the 2 sets that I'm currently building, which is the Emperor's Throne Room. Thank you, Argos, for a great price. And then, Amazon, sorry. And then thank you, Argos, for a really good price of what is nicknamed the Poor Man's Diagon Alley. Right? I like it. Wasn't in a rush to buy it. I've got the Diagon Alley set up there, but I'm glad to get it at a good price, you know. But yeah, so I'll put a few updates on that. And obviously, next week, Family Bricks again. And in the meantime, I'm probably going to enjoy the content that you guys are distributing out there in the community. I like my London Calling. I definitely like my Good Morning Brick World. If I don't see it live, I definitely replay it. And
thank you.
Yeah, that's it. So sorry I have to leave you now, but I'm going to have to really shoot off.
Yeah, no, appreciate you popping in. I know
Take
you
it easy, brother.
So,
yeah.
Good to see you.
All right. Good to see you guys. Have a good day. Bye.
I did have a question for everybody, because this was something I wasn't really complaining about per se. It's something actually I mentioned to you, Matt, a couple of days ago about Ahsoka left the Jedi. And she went back to help and stuff, but she didn't like join the Jedi again, right? Like she was kind of against the Jedi, right?
Yeah, no, I think she was just doing it as because I remember, you bringing that up, and my interpretation or recollection of it was very much she joined them just to help out on one last mission. She didn't come back.
It's not like she had an epiphany and was like, no, you guys are right. You know, my take on you guys was wrong. The reason I'm asking this is because she mentions to Sabine multiple times about Jedi, training you to be a Jedi. Jedis don't do this. Yeah, but like, so I was confused more than anything about. I thought she was just like, you know, like if she was going to train Sabine, it would just be in the Force, so to speak. You know, not like Jedi.
I was confused about that as well.
So I just wanted to make sure. Maybe I missed something when I was watching the series. Like maybe I need to go back and watch something. I don't know, but I couldn't remember. I know she came back to help, obviously.
Yeah.
Because she was the most badass presence in the last season of Clone Wars. Mm-hmm. Like I was telling Mrs. Hive, because she hasn't seen it. I was like, I'm telling you, if you didn't watch any of it, I was like, you got to at least watch the last season. Mm-hmm. I was like, Ahsoka does stuff on that show that is just uncanny, amazing.
Yeah, my interpretation was a little bit like the Balin. It's sort of like there are good elements to the Jedi, but there's aspects to it which, not. So in terms of where that line is between Jedi and just being trained as a Force user, I don't really know. Obviously, I get the sense Ahsoka's sort of like, look, you know, there's still going to be some evil and stuff going around, and we need to have at least somebody or some people who can match up to it. And I need to train people up. And,
well, maybe she was training Sabine like a Jedi would, as far as like combat, the Force, but the politics, she probably was like, no, that the politics of Jedi definitely don't want nothing to do with that.
It was all kind of marked and blurred
that's
by the politics.
I think this is why Ahsoka is such a great character in my eyes, and why I think she's very popular, is because she represents, I think, the kind of audience's view on the Jedi when we're first introduced to the Jedi, and when Ahsoka is introduced into the show. The opinion of the Jedi, both hers and like the viewers, when you initially hear it, is like, Jedi are good, black and white. The Jedi are good, the Sith are bad, right? And then as Ahsoka's character progresses, and then as we see more of the Jedi, and we come into like the prequels, and especially through the decisions and things that they do in the Clone Wars, you get that sense of, okay, it's definitely not all black and white. And then really when she gets kicked out of the Order and then into Order 66, and she is requested their help because she thinks that they are the ones to go to, but then realizes, I think very quickly realizes that the Jedi have completely lost their way, and if they're not going to help these people that need it the most, like, what does it stand for?
Right.
And she was so like wrong, like done wrong by the Jedi. Like, it's what the prequels did, I think, to a lot of fans, is show that the Jedi.
Oh yeah,
could
well, dude, the way they treated Anakin, was the biggest thing, man. Dude, it was horrible. Like, if you really pay attention, not just watch, but just pay attention to Anakin and the Jedi Order, and then of course Palpatine, and like, dude, and they just bounce him back and forth, man. And it's no wonder, not to justify, but it's no wonder he lost his marbles, man. I mean,
so that's why I think Ahsoka is such an interesting character, is because she has for so long been portrayed as the viewer's eyes on the Jedi. So it's interesting to see what, and maybe that is something it would have been nice to I think potentially at the beginning we could have done with a bit more in whatever form of like where Ahsoka's standpoint is on what she thinks is a Jedi, what she believes, like just kind of where she stands it, because she knows that Luke, because of the timeline, she does know that Luke's preparing to start his building his new academy. So she must have found some solace in what a Jedi is to her now, but I think that could have been better developed. I think that might have helped us understand her character a little bit more in the earlier episodes if we had known exactly what her starting point and view is on a Jedi, because then it does. The last time we've kind of seen her pre-Mando is like the Jedi, she's realized she's been done wrong by the Jedi. She doesn't really have any time for them, but it is then weird to hear that she was training Sabine as a Jedi, and again, in what capacity that is. If that is just combat and like being in touch with the Force, that's one thing, but that kind of is a little bit confusing.
And the thing also with Anakin is, I know, even though I can't remember offhand, it's been a while since I watched it, but I know they talked in Clone Wars together about stuff like that, the Jedi and all that. But it would have been nice to get maybe a little refresher, especially maybe in the flashback stuff. You know what I mean? Maybe she could just, because who is the best person to talk about discrepancies about the Jedi? Is Anakin. Obviously. So I agree.
Because I think something which you picked up, Tech, and I think it was more when we had that Mando season 2.5, was you didn't see that sort of first meeting between Ahsoka and Luke.
Mm-hmm.
You just sort of see, she's there and happy to hand Grogu over, sort of, or see him there, sort of thing. And I think that's what you're saying here, is that's important to sort of see what she views on it, because obviously we know with the sequels, he basically goes off the rails and tries to kill Kylo Ren and all that sort of stuff. It's sort of like, okay, well, we know this is going in a really nasty direction. So where, as you say, where are these guys starting at it from? How does she view it? And I think that is something which, it just kind of becomes a bit frustrating because it's sort of like, what's actually going on here? Like, I'm confused. So, just trying to think.
I do think a couple points that I thought of is that one, for Ahsoka, she may have left the Jedi Order, but she was trained as a Jedi, so maybe she just doesn't really know any other way to train Sabine.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think back to the Clone Wars movie when Ahsoka and Anakin were first introduced and they kind of went off together. I think Yoda and Obi-Wan had a brief conversation about how, now Anakin has an apprentice. Will he be able to let go? So, like, Ahsoka was nothing more than a tool for the Council to test Anakin because Anakin was such a powerful Force user. And I think about that a bit.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, I know you can't get too dark with stuff. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's Star Wars and all that. But, man, there's such good stuff in there, man, to write about. You know what I mean? Dialogue, like I said, character development. Like, there's so much good stuff, man. Because, like Tech was saying, man, Ahsoka is a very complex character. She was like a lot of other Padawans, but she was young growing up in the Clone Wars. You know what I mean? Like, seeing all that death. She wasn't already an adult or a Jedi Master, so to speak. Then, of course, with the Jedi itself, then her master being Darth Vader, and like then the Rebels and Rex, and like there's like so much, man, that she has gone through. And I didn't know this. I read a little tidbit of facts that I guess Force users of her race can live up to almost like 200 years, man. Like, not guaranteed, but they can live quite a while.
Well, Yoda doesn't he say, I can never remember the exact thing, is it Empire or Jedi, Return of the Jedi? It's like, when for 900 years you've trained Jedi, so it's like, they live for a long time. Like,
right. Man, Ahsoka's a great character. I just wish they would have done just some more detailed type work with it. You know what I mean? That's all. I will say also Morgan Elsbeth, man. I loved her. I loved her so much. I loved everything about the Night Sisters, man. Mrs. Hive wasn't too keen on witches being in Star Wars for some reason, but I was like, whatever. I was like, I think they're great. I wanted to see more, Ventress and stuff like that.
But I saw during the week, it was just a quick little snippet on, I think it was Instagram or something, with the actress that plays Morgan Elsbeth, and she has a fair martial arts background.
Yeah, she was training a lot of that stuff, man. That's why when you watch her and Ahsoka, man, like I got a video coming out tomorrow. I talk about this too, but like, dude, she's fast. Like when you watch her swinging that sword, and like, dude, she is really fast, and you can tell like she's definitely had training doing it, man.
Yeah, she's very competent with it, and that's why when you were saying a bit earlier, it's sort of like, I think it was you saying, outside of like Ray Park, who's had official training, Anakin was quite good with it, and I'm sort of looking at some of the stuff that going back and seeing the Morgan Elsbeth stuff is like, wait a minute, there's some posters.
Even when she was fighting Ahsoka back in the Mandalorian with that dude, she was fighting with a spear, and Ahsoka had 2 lightsabers, man. Dude, when Ahsoka killed her, I was just like, I was so sad, man. I was almost gonna cry.
That fight scene between Morgan Elsbeth and Ahsoka is really good. Like the final one, like that's when the choreography comes in. That scene's awesome.
I think
fight scenes are great. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, no, I was going to say exactly the same thing, Hive. I think all of the fight scenes and the choreography for the fight scenes have been fantastic. Like, I think the sequel's choreography wasn't great for the lightsaber duels. It never really felt intense or like there was loads of real weight. Especially because the last one we got at the cinema was Anakin versus Obi-Wan, right? Like that is so. And even in Kenobi, it still never matched. Like, and I get it. Darth Vader's in a suit. Like he's not as he can't move as well.
It's interesting you bring that up because when she was fighting Balin, you know what it reminded me of was her fighting Darth Vader, man. Because dude, his stature
between the
was like
two,
a
man.
tank, dude.
His intro is straight out of Rogue One, isn't it?
Dude.
Yeah.
And when she was fighting him, you could see her struggle. Now she got a couple good hits. You know, she's way more nimble. You know what I mean? But you could tell she was struggling trying to fight him, and that's exactly what it reminded me of was when she was fighting Darth Vader.
There was
just precision.
There was just tons of like unconventional moves that it wasn't just like do a spin, do a back. Like she was like back towards him, like it was so refreshing. And every time we had like a really good like between Morgan Elsbeth and Ahsoka and the two fights actually with Balin and Ahsoka, I thought choreography wise was really well done.
On point. I think this choreography, and then also too, you notice with a lot more of those, they take a wide shot and it hangs for longer. Whereas when I found with the sequels, what they'd do is they'd go in close and it was lots of fast cutting. Because when you do that, it's like you can almost hide people don't have experience or aren't as well trained. But when you take that wide shot and you've got, Ahsoka and Morgan Elsbeth going at it, if you don't have, either know the sequence really well, confident, there's nowhere to hide in that. Mm-hmm. And that was the same thing with the prequels. They did a lot more of that, and it was more of a choreography.
The two things that stood out to me about the fighting, besides what Tech and I just mentioned, was one, I do feel bad for Filoni in a sense that directing lightsaber fights in animation and doing it in real life are two totally different things, man. Because when you watch Ahsoka in the Clone Wars or Rebels or whatever, man, like she's fast, like really fast, and it's clearly because it's animation. And dude, Rosario Dawson, man, like phenomenal actress. I've loved her for a long time, man. But she wasn't fast. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean she wasn't good. She just wasn't fast. So I feel bad for Filoni on that aspect. But the other good thing that I noticed about all these, dude, there was not just different sizes of people. You got Balin, you got Shin, Ahsoka, but Ahsoka's got two lightsabers. Malik had, the Inquisitor lightsaber. So you had all these different styles and different weapons, man, that really made it. And then, of course, you had Anakin. Mm-hmm. I can never get over, how great Anakin was.
I really liked Ahsoka's second lightsaber being like the samurai swords. We got like the proper sword and then the shorter one, and just the general samurai Ronin stuff going on in there. Really
I need to rewatch Clone Wars, man, because that seems like an extremely difficult fighting style to use, man, with how she's got them kind of backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, she obviously does it well, but I mean, like, it seems like that would be such a difficult, but clearly that's from either samurais or ninjas. I think samurais, right?
Yeah, I think
that's how they usually draw, is in that kind of almost backward type stance.
Yeah.
Good stuff. King says I look like Balin. I am trying to get that Balin beard going. For once, I'm like, I'm glad I got gray hair, man.
I was getting ready to do a casting, like do an interview.
A video of you running around your room with lightsabers.
All we need now is for Kerry to say that, I can see Hive as Balin in the future. She picked a couple of the other ones, so.
Man, his presence in that show, man, just unbelievable. I mean, there's a lot of great acting in that show, I feel. Because even my complaints about stuff has nothing to do with the actors. You can only read your dialogue and be directed, on so many different things. But as far as Ray goes, man, I just, and I hadn't thought about like his past stuff until, I started looking into it more, and I was like, oh man, he's in this and this. I didn't even realize like how much stuff he's been in that I've seen,
Yeah, I was really surprised because he popped up in the first episode. It's like, who is this guy? And you looked at it, it's like, oh, he was the Punisher in Punisher Warzone. It's like, what?
And he was a perfect cast for that role because he looks menacing, but yet, but gentle, kind of at the same time. Like his demeanor when he talks, like he's not like me, where he's like, you know what I mean? Like he's very calm and like I don't know. And I really wanted to see more of him and Shin. Yeah, they are probably two of my favorite things in the show.
We know you're a lot more nimble. Give us a ninja rant kick.
I saw Cabbage actually like crop me doing like a Mortal Kombat like bicycle in the air. It was great, man. yeah, I don't make any sense, man, when I do all that stuff.
Okay, I think is there any other sort of things we want to cover off? What about we spoke a little bit about in terms of magic being in it, and now for mine they've really extended the zombie aspect of it. Okay, yes, you kind of did have a little bit before with one or two characters, but certainly in the last episode when the night troopers are just coming in that sort of Walking Dead type way.
I was a little confused about that because I thought they were normal type dudes. Obviously the stormtrooper suits. I know what the cloth was for. That was for the Night Sisters. So I thought they were normal. Then when they died, they got brought back to life to zombies. But I don't know anymore. I think maybe they were dead already. Because then when you see the Death Trooper, was it a Death Trooper?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, and you remember you see his face, and that was clearly a zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those
cool.
two. Yeah, when they showed up, I knew they had to be dead because Ezra shot them at the end of Rebel Season 4. So, yeah.
And then also too, they have
dude.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I'm
man.
wondering.
That is a great Easter egg, man.
Yeah. I'm wondering how many of those troopers were alive and how many were dead.
Even if they didn't, even if they didn't die at the end of it in Rebels, they had to have died at some point. Just look at the state of their armor. Like the armor that they're wearing to be in that condition, and then it all.
And not all of them. There's so like in I can't remember which episode it is. One of the last ones where they're fighting with Sabine and Ezra. They're talking. They're not making zombie noises.
Yeah, that's why I thought what I was saying in the beginning because they seem normal, but then when they brought them back to life, that's when they were like,
yeah.
I mean,
it's kind of like zombies.
Yeah.
We didn't see the Death Troopers until the last episode, so
Right.
I'm wondering if they were.
I think
brought
they might
back
be
to life
separate,
by that point as like extra backup.
Yeah.
10 years of decay. Is that what they look like? Yeah.
I'm glad that they did that, man. Because I've heard some people in my little circle and just online and stuff, some people didn't like it. Because they're like, what are zombies doing in Star Wars? Well, I was like, well, what are witches doing in Star Wars, man? Like, who cares? As long as... Look, I don't care about anything that's new or different. As long as it's done good. Might not make sense, but it's Star Wars, man. Like, what does make sense, really?
Yeah, and it's... Even from the original designs in, like, Darth Vader and things like that was assimilating samurai. Like, it's... And, the original, when they did the animatics back for Star Wars... He took World War II fighter footage to sort of, splice together and go, this is what I'm after. So I think it's always been a melting pot of it. And I think so long as it doesn't get done in a ridiculous, cheesy sort of way. But I think as you sort of like and commented on, when you had, was it Shin? No, not Shin. Sabine. Was she, or was it Ezra who put the lightsaber into the side of the head of the zombie?
I thought that was smart. I was like, headshot.
Yeah. I really like the Night Sister side of it. I think because I played, I forget the name of the Fallen Order, the game where they touch on that loads and bring it. That's where and I guess it's in Clone Wars as well, a fair amount. So I love that they're bringing that through. Like, it's in Star Wars canon.
It's well established in like deep rooted lore and like even in the games and stuff, but it is also a really refreshing way to not just have a bad guy that can use the Force, but like these other people that can use magic that can combat the Force and is probably related to the Force in some essences and is interwoven in places, but it's just refreshing to have some adversaries that aren't just red lightsaber and they can do other things and it poses different threats to
that's one of the reasons why I like the Android too.
Just pause it there for a sec. I think TJ, you need to head off.
Yeah, I've got to hop off.
Yeah. Okay. No, look, brilliant to have you on all these. I've appreciated that. Is there anything you want to give a quick plug to?
Monday nights at 7 Central on Twitch. I'm continuing my streams. I'm starting the Ghost, so I have just the Phantom so far.
Nice.
And I have the Ghost build. And then Wednesday nights on Bricksmith's YouTube channel at 8 p.m. Central, we got Lego's Ultimate Builds. And I think that's it.
Okay, brilliant. Excellent.
Thanks for having me on. Really enjoyed doing this series.
Yep, and certainly in the next lot of Star Wars which comes along, we'll consider doing it again.
Yeah, absolutely. See you guys.
Okay.
Thank you, mate.
Later.
It was fun.
So sorry, I cut off somebody who was halfway through a thought.
If it was me, it was brain fart, so don't worry about it.
The other interesting thing I found with this is the main antagonist and protagonist basically never met throughout the whole series in terms of Ahsoka and Thrawn.
That's a good point. Yeah, and I think that's interesting and not bad at all. Honestly, I don't feel like it's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think for what they did, no matter how much they complain, I could say yes, they should have done a lot of different stuff or more. But for what they did, they moved the plot, and I think for what it was, they did it right. I don't feel like Ahsoka, should have battled with Thrawn or whatever. And we all know there's a bigger story getting ready to happen too. I did find it, I don't know, maybe it's like that Lucas rhyming thing that Ezra now is gone and they're stuck on that planet. It's like they reversed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it could make total sense that they never met if that wasn't the point. Because at the beginning of Ahsoka, my fear was that the whole season is just us chasing after Thrawn and at the end finding him, and then the season ends. A bit like Mandalorian, when I thought that the whole season is about Mando taking a bath. And that's it for the season. Yeah, so
was that Mando or Boba Fett?
Yeah.
Oh, something happened. Back to the BAFTA tank. Oh, something else happened. Back to the BAFTA tank.
I forgot to tell you, Tech. That is an epic wall scroll behind you.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Oh my god! I just meant to tell you that a long time ago, man. I was like, oh my god.
It's got like some of the other.
Dude, I know. It's amazing.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
I've got a few of them. I need to try and incorporate I've got like a Death Trooper one. I've also got Kylo Ren one as well. So I need to try and get it in the background. But I'm limited with space here. I've been put in a corner since the baby arrived.
You're gonna have less and less space.
I know. I already feel the table's getting closer.
My brother put up a shot. He's got a 1-year-old kid. He put up a photo the other day. It was like, this is where he used to do like a bit of Lego and Warhammer painting and stuff. Like, this is my workbench, and it's just like his kid's cot. Yeah.
And what you'll have in about 9 months' time is what we call the rising tide. Once the kid starts sort of crawling, you got to lift things up, and then they start cruising and things, and you lift it higher, and then cool. I think we put it out there. How many of us here have watched Rebels? Obviously, Tech Hive has. I'm now halfway through it. Rickskew, have you seen it?
Yeah, seen it a couple of times.
Okay.
I do need to rewatch it though, because I definitely spaced out doing multitasking while I was watching.
Yeah, it was one of them things. Same with Clone Wars. I'd have it on while cooking or
while I was building or whatever
at work or something. Yeah.
How did we? I think this might be a question directed more at Hive or anybody. I think, because Hive, you obviously had Mrs. Hive, who sort of hadn't seen it and fielding questions for everyone today. I haven't seen 2 of the seasons, and your thoughts on how, if somebody hasn't seen Rebels, how this story unfolded for them, or Mrs. Hive's experience.
So, I've mentioned before, she loves the show. I mean, she's a normie when it comes to Star Wars. Like, she's seen all the movies. She's watched the main shows. Like, she's watched Mando. I can't remember if she watched Boba Fett or not, but so she's watched some stuff, but she's not deep in it. You know what I mean? And she definitely doesn't know hardcore lore. So, but she loves Ahsoka. She would ask me questions here and there. I think even if I wasn't there to answer her questions, she still would have loved it. She would have probably just Googled stuff. You know what I mean? Things like Jason, she's curious, but that's nothing that big of a deal in a way, you know, for the story. But like stuff like she was dying to know about like more backstory about Sabine and Ahsoka, because they seem to be the two most prominent, you know, ones there. Not just about them individually, but about time they've had together. But I told her, I was like, well, a lot of us don't even know that. I mean, that was like in the background. Yeah. So, the Night Sisters, there were just some things she just didn't quite grab, like the whales. She's like, what the hell are those things? You know what I mean? Like, she's like, they're gonna go across hyperspace and on top of it. I was like, yeah, it's all right, but so it didn't prevent her from enjoying it. And like I said, she would have looked stuff up. We live in the age now; you can find anything. You know what I mean? But yeah, she clearly just did not understand a lot of what was going on. Most of the time, it didn't bother her at all. There was a couple times she'd be like kind of annoyed, and then she'd ask me about it. I think I didn't help sometimes. Like when I showed her the scene with Ezra and Ron, you know, like that, if I would have just not shown her that, she wouldn't have known really in the past, but she wouldn't have been upset. Now she was like, man, what the heck? So no, she was able to enjoy it. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty hard on Ahsoka, but you can pull this just from about any kind of show that's got history. The only thing that Marvel did differently was they did it well enough, at least in the first few phases, that the stories were contained. It just had a lot of Easter eggs, you know. But then obviously, once you got, like, if you watched Endgame, you wouldn't have understand anything. You know what I mean? So, you know, to be fair, a lot of stuff, you know, it's just the way it is. I just think my whole thing was Filoni could have just, with a few paragraphs, like told about what happened at the end of Rebels, or explain a little bit more about Speed and Ram, you know, or Speed and Ahsoka and stuff. So, but yeah, I don't think you needed to know stuff to enjoy it. I mean, you know, you can just enjoy the story. You know what I mean? Like,
certainly starting off and watching it, having not seen Rebels, it was very much the same. It's like, oh, I can get, you know, I can follow the main thread of this through. I can sense that there's a lot of stuff here, which if I knew the rest of it, I'd know it. Do I care too much at this stage? No. Did it make it easier to get into Rebels? Absolutely. Because I tried before and just couldn't. And then at least answering going, okay, I kind of know Sabine, Hera. They're talking about this dude, Ezra. Like, so
sorry about that. Didn't expect was like a call from my work phone.
Because I think the other thing, and we sort of mentioned, I can't remember if you were on the stream or not, but the thing with Star Wars that they've done well is they keep enabling entry point for new kids and, you know, flesh blood, so that, you know, you can keep turning it over. Because unlike other things, when you talk about recasting, like you think about something like James Bond and things like that, but usually when they kind of recast it, it's like, well, it's almost like doing a reset on it. Yes, it's still James Bond. And I mean, the only other series I can think of which doesn't, it runs somewhat similar to Star Wars, I don't know much about it, would be Star Trek. But even then, it seemed to be in one of the films, they had the old cast kind of, you know, Leonard Nimoy and who's the William Shatner, sort of handing it over to whoever the new guys turned out to be. So
the thing about Star Wars too, and because I hate to complain about like needing to know backstory about stuff, you know, in a way, because for a long time, and hardcore Star Wars fans know this, especially if you're a little older like me, is there was a long period of time we didn't have movies, and we barely had anything for shows. This was before even the prequels, you know what I mean? So we kept it alive with legends, all these backstories, man, you know what I mean, to all these things, because we didn't have anything else. So, and then of course I carried on after the prequels, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But it's important, I think, you know, to have a lot of that backstory for a lot of stuff. But like I said, you don't need it to enjoy it. Like I said, you could go watch Endgame, not understand really anything, but still like kind of enjoy the movie. You know?
Yeah, there's a big bad guy. They're all fighting. Like, you know, the intricacies of it. The reason I sometimes bring up Marvel is you load up Disney Plus and you look at the main franchises that they have on there.
Yeah.
It's Marvel, it's Star Wars, it's Pixar. Okay, there's a couple others, National Geographic.
Yeah.
But you look at those and you could argue less so with Star Wars. Certainly Marvel's becoming a bit stale and a bit of a problem. Okay, they paid $4 billion for it. It's made multiple times. They got the return. Pixar, if you would have said 5 or 10 years ago that they don't make hits, you would have been laughed at. But you look at it like the last one, whatever it was struggling. Star Wars, they haven't done a film in ages, and the ones that they did, mixed reception. The series are a bit up and down. Like we can say, there's an Andor, and then there's a Boba Fett. You've had Indiana Jones, which they've tried to do something with. Like, at the moment, Disney is not really having a great track record with all these properties.
Disney's on fire right now, man. I don't know anybody could even deny it. You look at their stock market, you look at the ratings, you look at the movie sales, you look at I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do. But
which is get back to what you were saying in terms of I'm very much the same. I think we chatted a little bit offline in terms of I remember that period between 83 and 97.
Renaissance period.
And
that's when Lion King came out and Aladdin and like dude, all those those were more in the early 90s, but
yeah, Star Wars, there was nothing. Like, I mean, you had a couple of Super Nintendo games that were really freaking hard, but so
that's why I'm glad that a lot of not the young generation, but like we'll say text generation, like they had Clone Wars and Rebel. They at least I'm so happy that they had something, and not just them, we had it too. But like, imagine if we would have had something like in the 90s or something, man, before the prequels came out that led up to stuff. But yeah, Disney, I don't know what they're going to do, but it's their own fault, man. Because I understand money, I understand business, you know what I mean? But you keep taking all these properties and just milking them completely dry, you know what I mean? Instead of just taking a break, sit back, let it marinate a little bit, you know what I mean? Let people's, because that's what Lucas did, I mean, even with when he, after the prequels, like, he talked about Clone Wars, got with Filoni, you know what I mean? Like, but it wasn't just like back to back to back, you know what I mean? Like, people had a build up, Look at the build up for season 8, you know what I mean, for the Clone Wars, and how that we didn't think we were going to get it, and then we got like, so yeah, I mean, it's definitely they need to chill out. I feel, dude, because I love Disney, man. I don't want them to fail.
Yeah, I think
I love Star Wars and Marvel. I think it's just everybody's getting a little superhero fatigue. I think that's what that is more than anything. I mean, there is some bad writing, bad shows, and stuff like that, but I think
they need to take a break on that.
Dude, how many superhero movies? Not just Marvel.
I'll watch it all, but yeah.
I'm a comic book fan, It's just like.
Well, I think as a comic book fan with the Marvel stuff, and it's like, give me an overall sense like you had with Endgame. You could tell, okay, you had great films. You're leading up to the big bad of Thanos. What are we doing at the moment with the others?
They've started it now with Loki. It's Kang. Kang's the next one, and they are starting that. No,
but it's like the end of season 1 of Loki had Kang. You're telling me like 2 years later, you still haven't figured out what you're doing? Like, and by that stage,
Kang's cool, but he's a horrible villain, man. Like, dude, Thanos wiped out half the universe. Dude, Kang can't beat anybody. Sylvie beat him. Ants beat him. Like, I could go on, man. Like, dude, this guy can't get a win, man. And I think he's an interesting villain, especially, but. I don't know. I'm just waiting for him to bring in Galactus or the Beyond or something like that.
Yeah.
There's the danger with Marvel. They could just go wild. Like the comics are mad. Like just all over the place. Like, how are people going to take it?
So, in terms of then, where would we like to see things go from here in terms of Star Wars? Like, what is it? Is it a whole bunch of things which lead up to a movie in the Filoniverse? It seems that there's rumors that we're getting a Rey's Academy as the next film. Like, well, what's the sort of sense in a Hive controlled world or a tech controlled world? What are the next couple of series, or where does this go?
Hive, do you want to start?
An wholly controlled world or a lady?
I'll start. Well, first of all, I mean, with all the craziness that happened with the sequels, Disney, man, I gotta tell you, they be doubling, tripling down on stuff, man, because they're like, yeah, Rey, come back. like, I don't hate Rey like a lot of people did, man, but I'm like, let's move on to something else, man. You're like, you really. But look, I don't mind the style in a way of like the Boba Fett's or the Ahsoka's, where it's a little more toned down. It's serious, but not too serious. But I would like to see more stuff in the lines of Andor. You know, I'm not saying it's got to be like Andor, like the premise, but just the how they do it. You know, you take the writing series, dude. There was at least 3 speeches in that series, man, that sent chills down my spine, man. They were so powerful. You know, I mean, the one with what Lutheran was it, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But
something like that.
Yeah, but him and then Andy, what's his character? But it doesn't matter. The point is, man, is that show moved me, and I don't even know if there was a lightsaber in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was just you got to see the Empire in a totally different light, their inner workings. It just took itself more seriously, and I would just love to see that seriousness in some other shows, man. Like, especially with some legacy characters like Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, man. Like, if you want to get goofy with new characters, man, fine. But like Boba Fett, you know, like baddest bounty hunter in the galaxy, man. Like, I don't know. No. So that's what I would like to see happen, you know. But
yeah, but it's Andor. I think, you know, as we said multiple times with Tech, didn't want to see a lightsaber in that series. It didn't. I think there was one time when, you know, we're looking at a Black Series figure of Luthor, and it looked like his cane might be a lightsaber. And it's like, oh God, no, please, you know.
Yeah. But remember the scene when they almost got him and he got away. Remember he blew up the radar dish and all that. Remember that? Remember how badass that scene was, dude? And it was even more so because they didn't just throw that stuff at you every 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it built up, and then when it happened, man, it was like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The thing with Andor, which I remember from that, and the thing is, you saw how grounded, ruthless, and terrifying the Empire was, like in terms of the ISB, and you're just looking at that. You know, they were changing laws to get prisoners, to work them to death, basically to fry them. Like, you know, there was no hiding in that series. It was.
And that's kind of why I was a little upset with Thrawn too. I mean, you have the Emperor, you know, you got Darth Vader, you got Darth Maul. All these guys, dude, are like evil and menacing, and I know he's not in that same caliber. You know, he's a tactical officer. You know what I mean? But like, you should be scared of him. anyways, I didn't want to interrupt. I know it was Tech, I think.
So yeah, in the tech control world, how does Star Wars move forward from here?
I mean, my kind of prediction up until the last 2 years or so was that I didn't think they were going to touch sequels characters with a barge pole, no less in a film, in a cinema film. I have been proven wrong. My kind of anticipation was that Grogu they would like do a time jump a bit with Grogu, and they would like set up an order maybe like 100, 200, 300 years into the future, because we know what that is with Grogu. Maybe they do that. Maybe he's like a big part of the. There's no way they're doing a Star Wars movie about Jedi and a new Jedi Academy and Grogu's not in it like that. Like one,
especially like a little older Grogu.
Yeah. One, story-wise, it wouldn't make sense. That species is known to be super powerful with the Force. Like, he's going to be in it. Also, marketing. Like, come on now,
dude.
I would like to see. Maybe I'm clutching at straws at this, but with good writing and a really exciting couple of series, whether that be through Skeleton Crew, Mando, Ahsoka, and then like the culmination of this film. There are talks that Mando season 4 they may adapt and make it into a film. So maybe that's kind of like the pre-build up to them the Avengers style film where all the Skeleton Crew, Boba Fett shows all like culminate together. I think I would really like to see them talk about how we get the First Order and where they come from. I know it's been touched on in comics, and maybe it's rights and wrongs with the sequels, a bit like Clone Wars did for a lot of the prequels. Like, I think it would be really interesting to see how that develops and bring that into the mainstream, and maybe some people will find a new appreciation or understanding for some of the stuff that they do in the sequels. Maybe, I don't know. But then I would like them to go forward. I think what is kind of difficult about some of these shows is that we can presume that Ahsoka's dead by the time of the sequels, so we can guess.
I wouldn't say that. I actually screenshotted something that Dave Filoni said. Here, let me read it for you real quick. Most fans think Ahsoka is dead by the end of The Rise of Skywalker when the voices of the Jedi past speak to Rey. However, she'd only be approximately 72 years old and Force-sensitive. I always pronounce her names wrong.
Togruta, yeah.
Thank you. Can live up to 200 years old. That's where I heard that. Dave Filoni stated that it's not confirmed whether she's dead or alive, but instead some of these voices are still anchored to the living in a strange way.
Wow.
That's Filoni explaining stuff for you.
There's that. Okay, maybe point proven on that one. But we still, when you're working within a timeline that has stuff well established, stuff like a trilogy of films ahead of itself, you can kind of tell where some things are. Like, we can only anticipate that Thrawn is going to have a huge part in the creation of the First Order. He's obviously not around when they finally enter the.
That makes sense, Tech.
Yeah. He's such a powerful character that he obviously it would very much appear and probably feel weird if he didn't have some sort of role in the beginnings of the First Order. So I am really looking forward to, and I have been for quite a while, is looking forward to a period where there is nothing ahead of us. Yeah. Like there is, and then they can dip and dive and go wherever they like. They don't have to. They don't have any like creative restraint on where they take characters and side stories and all sorts of things. So I think, whilst I never said that potentially the most excited thing I am looking forward to in Star Wars is a movie about Rey starting a Jedi Order, there are definitely elements of the fact that they can actually go anywhere they want with it now. It is quite exciting. It's quite exciting to me.
I agree. I mean, like, and if they do it right, man. I mean,
yeah.
Again, the best point you made, I think, honestly, was if they do something like that, it might be like the Clone Wars. Can help, rectify a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Because look, I'm forgiving when it comes to things. You know what I mean? Like, if you can fix it, I'm all about that. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna just hate you forever for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I agree also about the future part too. Yeah, get into some unknown territory.
Lady McBrick. In the Lady McBrick controlled universe, where does Star Wars go to next?
I like the idea that Tech had, because I never thought of it, but that would solve all of my problems, because I'm not a diehard fan of Star Wars. I saw most of it, never played a game, never read a book. But if we were really taken into the future, I would be out of the dilemma of where are we? Am I at the moment in the middle and the future is already written, and now I have to know about the past and the future in order to realize where I am and what the story is all about? That would be really good. It would free up a lot of me being able to enjoy it.
Yeah. Okay.
Because sometimes it really feels, when you watch something, it feels more than studying than enjoying a show. Like, okay, who are you? Where are you from? What do I need to know?
Yeah. Cool. Yep. Excellent. Brick Askew, if you were in charge, where would you like to see things go next?
Yeah, I think similar to what's been said already. I look forward to not having to worry about the history. I mean, I look forward to it being explained for the sequels and the First Order being set up. But yeah, like a more Force-focused universe. It's not just Jedi and Sith, but that we've got like Night Sisters and hyperspace and stuff. Like I've been reading some of the Hive. I forget the name of it. High Republic, like the old stuff in the past where it's got like the nihil, whatever, where it's like raiders and there's so much more. So yeah, Force focused, hyperspace thrown in there as well.
It'd be really cool if we can get something really awesome with like bounty hunters too, man. That's what I was hoping Mando was going to be. It was cool. Like you go get a different bounty every couple episodes or something, man. Like get us in that world. You know what I mean? In the slums of Coruscant and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Grey side, is that what it's called? The grey side.
right. Yeah. I mean, dude, like think about. I know this is an unfair comparison, but like think about like the cinematic trailers for like the cutscenes for like the games, man, like Knights of the Old Republic and stuff. Like how awesome that stuff looks, and how without even much dialogue, how much expression and emotion and feelings they can conjure up. You know what I mean? And drama and everything. And yeah, it just blows my mind that they can't deal with the $100 million movies, man.
Yeah, no, it's. I think much like Tech was hinting at before, my impression was always they weren't going to touch Rey and things like that. I am not excited about anything to do with Rey moving forward because I just see you're digging yourself a deeper hole. I don't see how you fix that. And no, that's not because I hate the character or whatever else. They had no plan for that. The character's too overpowerful. The rest of the crew made no sense being there. Like, there's all sorts of problems.
They screwed it, and they want to clean up now.
Yeah, it's just like let's move past that. I think some of these series, it's been interesting to fill in some of the gaps or have like the stories in between. I think a lot of things work better in animation because it's short, punchy, as what was said. 13 to 22 episodes. You can have through lines, all that sort of stuff. Because you're looking at this and you're going. You have all these potentially high expectations because of Hera and Ezra and this, and it's all being built up in this animated form. And while it's been good to see it in live action, I think that the miniseries format has not done it great favors if they're not going to structure it, as we said, as like an Andor where you can tell like, hey, these are these blocks. But yeah, let's just move forward. So there's no, okay, well, we're here and we know the character gets to there. Therefore, this doesn't mean anything. Let's, so that would be my take on it. I know we're starting to go a little on the long side now. Is there any other things people want to talk about or bring up, or we feel we're good now?
No, I think one thing just to at the end of that, in like terms of where Star Wars wants to go, is that Bad Batch Season 3 is going to be the final Bad Batch season. And so that leaves a whole new 16-episode, 18-episode animation series for Star Wars to announce in the next coming years, because I can't imagine they're just going to stop doing an animated show. And so it's going to be really interesting to see where they decide to put that in on the timeline. And maybe they're working on something that is like kind of pre the Rey movie to kind of set things up for that. Or if they just go completely somewhere different with it. Also, Kay pointed about Tales of the Jedi. Give me 3 episodes, Tales of the Jedi in animation, please.
I think actually one thing that I have found interesting is that Marvel was criticized for having stuff in the TV shows that you need to watch the TVs to understand the films. But Star Wars is doing it left, right, and center. Like, and it doesn't seem to get criticized for it. It just seems to be an interesting.
Well, there's no films of them.
You talking about like the stuff that was on Netflix, or because the problem I had with all that was, they like to reference stuff from the movies and the shows, but the movies wouldn't touch the shows. And I'm like, look, you guys got to have a coherent universe, man, for you to do that. If not, then just make it an alternate universe or something,
Yeah, okay. Well, I think it was more that people were maybe at least scared, or they, saying they didn't want stuff to happen in the TV shows that would impact the films, because if people were only watching the films, because then you've got to buy Disney Plus or Netflix or whatever.
But I have a bigger problem with computer games influencing it.
Yeah, that's
at least the book I can buy and read. But if you are not a gamer, you are not a gamer. I'm not going to buy an Xbox just to be up.
I think this is kind of what I was saying about Ahsoka, is it just depends on what it is and how it's used as a context to the story. Like, for instance, Jason, my wife doesn't know anything. She didn't even know it was Hera's kid at first because she's like, it looks nothing like Hera, She doesn't know Kanan.
Yeah, it's a good point.
But that doesn't move the story forward. Like, that's not going to make the plot fall apart. Not knowing, like, you know, backstories of certain characters, or maybe like who the Night Sisters are, that's kind of different, you know. So I can understand why a lot of people don't want to, if they watch the movies, they don't want some, because there's tons of stuff like in the Marvel shows that they've done that, you know, if I'm trying to think of a good example of some things, because like there's been some movies or shows or whatever maybe that's had okay, The Matrix. Okay, let's talk about The Matrix again. I know it's kind of old, but so The Matrix, when it came out, they had a game and then a comic book series, or it was more like a graphic novel that tied into the story. Okay, now if you watch the second Matrix movie and you see, Jada Pinkett Smith's character or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to need to know their backstory as far as what they're doing in the movie. But the game showed everything leading up to that point, you know what I mean? So some of it was cool, as long as it wasn't something that you needed to know to move the story forward. You know, that's the big thing. And that can be changed, you know, depending on opinions and just maybe how much lore you just know or whatever. But so I agree with, you don't want to take away from the story, but some stuff is cool to have as Easter eggs.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because that was the other thing. It was funny you bring up the Matrix, because you also had the Animatrix.
Oh, right, the Animatrix. Yes, I forgot about that as well.
Where it was very similar. I think what they were trying to do with the Visions, well, not so much, but they sort of went out to different animation houses that the Wachowski brothers,
especially a lot of Japanese animation.
And said, look, here's our sandbox. If you want, create your own stuff. Or here's a couple of things which, as what you're saying,
right?
You know, these are characters which are going to be in the second one, but they appear and you can do a bit of a backstory, or this is how it was.
Well, the Animatrix was to Matrix like Visions is the Star Wars, which I thought was. Well, I got mixed emotions about Visions because I think it's great, but then I'm like, I know it's not technically canon, but it feels like some of the stuff they placed in the Star Wars universe didn't seem like it would fit. But in a way, it's because I've always had this weird thing with Star Wars where I'm like, do Falcons exist in the Star Wars universe? Like,
this is
like Falcons? Because they got the Millennium Falcon, you know? Like,
Samurais and Rain in
it. So,
you got milk, and then it's blue. So is that the
same? So yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. It's cool to have some references, though.
Yeah, cool. Alrighty then. Well, I think we might just quickly wrap it up there. Go around maybe quickly what's coming up on your socials, and if there's anything else that we need to have a quick little touch upon. Brick Skew, what have you sort of got coming up?
Building stuff. I think I'm sorting out my finally sorting out my parts collection and going through that and putting it all in a good place to hopefully get building some mocks soon. And in the next few weeks, going to be starting up a stream as well. Got to find a time for it. But yeah, with Gaz, the minifig who, it's going to be quite a mock-centered thing. We'll figure out the format as we go, I think. But yeah, so hopefully we're just trying to come up with a name at the moment, which isn't going so well yet. But
well, good luck. Good luck.
I'm 35 episodes into this season and still got no idea the name. So.
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking at this point. It's like it doesn't matter if it's a bit rough.
Okay, cool. No, look forward to seeing your new mock series when that comes out. So I'm sure you'll let us know beforehand. That's brilliant. Lady McBrick, things you got coming up on your socials?
Yeah, probably.
Speaking of Falcon.
Yeah. Going to meet Sir Awesome Fishy tomorrow. Jiao and I'm going to build something fun. Maybe finally the cinema.
Wow.
What is that?
That is a movie theater that I got when I bought the Marvel CMFs. Let me see.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
That's awesome. Is this? So what is this? A third-party Lego, or is this just completely custom? What is it?
It is a custom set, but with Lego pieces, and it is from the JB Spielwaren, the one who most recently is sending out posts from new releases, makes a bit like promo bricks information, but it is basically a third-party provider of Lego sets.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, definitely. Make sure you post about that on social media because we're interested to see all about that.
Yeah, I was really excited because they did already a set with the last CMF series. But
did Wolverine get a hold of that?
Yeah, that's the intention.
Lady McBrick's just been trying to cook in the Lego room with her knife again. Not quite. Brilliant. Okay, so yeah, Instagram tomorrow. I think it's 3:30 UK time. I think
3 on the dot.
3.
Yeah.
3 UK time, which would be about midday EST America. So
10, I think. Yeah.
Sorry, 5 hours. Yep. Sorry.
Yeah. Right.
I'm in the middle of the Atlantic. Okay. And Brick Hive. I know you've got. Let's see now. Good morning, Brick World. 173 part 27.
I finally fixed that. It was from the podcast, I guess, playlist or whatever. Yeah, it's really weird, but yeah, I got that fixed. Yeah, I got a big Good Morning Brick World coming up this Sunday, episode 200. So kind of like a big birthday or something. I do have an Ahsoka disturbing retrospect review coming out tomorrow. I gotta wrap up the editing tonight. Yeah, if you get easily offended, don't watch it. Like it's like right off the bat, it's very disturbing. I got a weekend review coming up soon. You know, I put that together usually every couple weeks now. Yeah, and I got another city update coming up. I've got I'm almost finally done. I've rewritten it so many times. My final script for this Only the Best Lego video. And then I got one coming out for like clickbait, stuff like that. So that one's probably gonna get a lot of people mad. That's why I haven't done it yet. Because I'm gonna be plastering everybody's stupid looking faces all over, you know, like all their O's and you know the marriage proposal look and like, all that stuff, man. So I don't know if people are gonna find it funny or not, but anyways, so that's what I got coming up. I'll probably do a Hive stream this Friday too.
Okay.
There's no Ahsoka though, so.
You have to find something else. So brilliant. No, look, congratulations on episode 200 on Sunday. That's no mean feat to get that far and like that, and I still remember some of those low single digit numbers from way back in the day.
Yeah, so, I know, right? Every once in a while, I'll go back and reminisce and watch one of them. See who was there. You wouldn't believe, like, you go back and watch older streams, man. Like, you're like, wow, I haven't seen them in forever. You know, just there's some people not in the community. Well, I'm sure they're still there, but like they're not out there anymore.
Yeah.
No. It's seeing all the different faces and you
as a matter of fact, I watched one the other day because we're getting close to Halloween, and there was one. Look at see Tech's face because he knows it was by far like the best thing ever. I'm not even gonna bring it up. Nobody even ever see it, man. But there was a scene with Tech, and it's still the best thing ever, man. God, Tech, I've known you now for a few years now, man.
I know, man. That's crazy.
Actually, all you guys except for Brick Askew. I mean, I've known you a little while now, but like Nicole and Tech and Matt, man, I've known you guys for at least 4 years now.
I still remember like a lot of us around the time we were like 100 and 200 subscribers. Like it was.
Now look at us. Look how seasoned we are.
A little bit more jaded, a little bit more ranty.
I will say real quick that I know it sounds cliche and all that stuff, man, but I really do appreciate all of you guys. You know, not just for being friends and family, but like we get to see, like we've known each other so long. Dude, Tech's got a kid now. Like,
I know.
Like you get to see. Your
Who would have thought that? Live stream, right?
Let's see in a year's time if you can still say that. Like,
it's so great, man. It really is. It's just so neat seeing all of us grow and, you know, do different things, and I don't know. It's just great. Just great.
Yeah, no, it is like that. I think back to, you know, Sans now is completely different from, you know, what
he's still the same.
He's
just married. No, I get what you're saying though. Yeah. Like Ryan's another one, man. Ryan, I don't want to say he's a completely different person, man, but like, you know, and it sounds stupid because I'm not trying to act like I'm his dad, but like he's like matured a lot over the years, man. Like he's almost like a totally changed, different type person, you know. There's a lot of people like that, you know.
He started his channel when he was 14. And
that's, so clearly you're gonna
12
see
years ago. So it's like, you know, these things sort of get there. So
how many TFOLs do we know, and now they're AFOLs now? You know what I mean? It's just crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And some of them I do feel kind of like a proud dad. I'm like, you've grown up, you've done good. Go out there and buy your Lego.
You can take over my ranting position.
I don't know if anybody's got that much hate in them, man.
I felt so overwhelmed since Solo left the community.
I miss Solo too. I haven't seen him in a bit. He was around a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
You see him pop up occasionally.
Yeah, he pops up occasionally. He sort of usually.
I miss you, Solo.
Yeah, on the military and Kobe side, and I think another kid that he's added into his mix too. So
I'm like, I'm good. Mine's 20. She just turned 20. Good.
Good. It's done. And speaking of being at the other end of that, and that's a weird segue, but Tech, what's coming up on your channels and socials?
So I'm doing a video of how to change a nappy. No, I'm joking. I could definitely do with watching a couple of those videos, I think. I will be streaming next Tuesday. I will be building the other half of this. I built the TIE Interceptor this week. I'm going to build the Fang Fighter next week. And I want to convert this eventually into, I want to make it rotate. I want to bring it up to minifig scale.
Nice.
I'll maybe improve it a little bit. But I've got a video that I'm like very slowly ticking away of, and it's finishing Lego Star Wars mocks that I abandoned. So expect to eventually see that that Gregory's capture mock finished and a couple of other things as well. But yeah, it's just getting the time at the moment to hamper down and work on that at the minute. But yeah, hopefully I'll be continuing the streaming anyway, trying to keep as regular as I can with that.
Gonklug be cooking, dude.
Gonklug, go follow Gonklug on Instagram.
That's Gareth mock, man.
It's good stuff. We're really happy, and then we're talking about we're starting to talk about what we want to do next year.
Can't wait.
Yeah, me and Sam have got a big collab project that we're literally, we went to the Lego stores. We went to 4 Lego stores today up in London, drowning in PAB to try to get the pieces that we wanted, like kickstart this mock, and we did pretty well actually. So yeah, in the next couple of months we'll start releasing content on that. We want to kind of like pre-film a lot of it and pre-produce a lot of it as much as we can. So I think probably in the new year we're going to start releasing some content on that. We'll probably announce it before then, but that's going to be something that's going to be a really exciting project for the beginning of next year. But yeah, that's about all I got going on.
Okay, brilliant. And look, really appreciate you coming on and taking the time. I know a little one, you know, it throws your life into chaos in a good way. And Brick Hive, we've enjoyed having you on. I'm glad that you could, you know, pop in.
Thanks for inviting me. I really was surprised. I didn't think anybody wanted my opinions on this show. It's good to see on a live stream that wasn't mine. No, I really do appreciate it. And I know I say some pretty harsh stuff sometimes, but I appreciate people being like, you know, mature about it, not like flipping out, or nothing. So
yeah.
So yeah, thanks for having me on. That was a great discussion, and then you guys did make me see things a little bit differently too.
Yeah, that's appreciate that, and yeah, it's always been a matter of. I think it's always good to hear other people's opinions and respect them. And as I said, there's a lot of things that you said which I agree with. Again, I think as I sort of commented offline, I remember that period from 83 to 99 when there was nothing. So you kind of like, it's for 12-year-olds. So, so there's something at least. But okay, otherwise, yeah, for me, back next Thursday, same time with the stream. I've got a couple of mocks sort of kicking over, which I want to release the instructions for and videos and things like that. So whether it's the Chopper one, I've got another Sonic one and a few other bits and pieces. I'm not sure I'll get back onto the top 5 most expensive this week. If not, hopefully next week. I need to keep on doing that. I think we're up to $19.99, going backwards with that. And I think those are the main things. I think we'd just give another shout out for Trevor's Hocus Pocus tomorrow, 13-13-13. That should be interesting to see the work he's done into that. And unless anybody else has got anything else to say that I haven't missed, usual share, like, and subscribe. And I'm just having a look, finishing up the poll. We did, are you enjoying the 6 to 8 episode mini-series on the platforms? 54% yes, love them, meh 22%, and no 22% as well. So bit of a split there between the yes and no's effectively. And just a quick shout out to a few people in the chat: Bricky Ty, TJ, KO, Bonnie, Bovojo, Simon. Shout out to the Replay Gang, usual social media stuff. Share, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll give you a shout out next time. Thanks to everyone who's been here. I know this one's gone long. Great to sort of finally wrap up the Ahsoka stuff and have everyone in different points of view. And with that, I think we're out of here. So see everyone later and have a good weekend.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Mr. Biblia Super Duper.
See ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.